going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Yes, it is I, Holly Cameron, and I'm in your phones, but I'm also making an appearance on True Heel Heat. I've been told it's a fantastic podcast. Why haven't you had me on it, huh? Where's my invitation? I think you guys need to feel the wrath. I'm at Comic-Con today, but I think we need to get some, some wrath in the show. So let me know.
All right, hello, True Heel Heat. I'm the AEW World Champion, MJF. Just in case you're deaf, dumb, blind, stupid, or since you listen to this podcast, or you're listening to True Heel Heat, and I apologize for that.
Upbeat person, you're watching True Heel Heat.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom, SP3, and we are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook for our AEW WrestleDream 2025 review. Breaking down last night's premium live events pay-per-view special from the AEW, featuring one of the most violent spectacles we have ever witnessed in the I Quit main event. So we're here to break it all down with you. And of course, we got some familiar faces to do it. First up, we got my main man here. He is the true draw himself. How are you feeling, Josh?
I'm feeling great. After last night, whew, man. I'll tell you, especially that main event. Oof.
It was something else. Definitely another AEW pay-per-view where you feel satisfied for the amount of that you spend on the show. But to determine that, we got one of a lot of our audience's favorites that we have here for our AEW pay-per-view reviews. You see his work over at WrestleNomics and Post Wrestling. You see him over on the NWA podcast and everything else that he does around the wrestling media and sports media world, and on your social media platforms if you like politic talk. The one and only Professor Kris Ely. How are you doing, Kris?
I'm good. I got home late last night because I had a charity event. and I had to watch the pay-per-view this morning. It was good, and the ending seemed a little abrupt, but it was still a good show.
Yes, it was a little rough. I do admit that, and it's because they try to pack so much into these shows. So we're gonna discuss all about it, and we appreciate y'all for joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back the simplest way possible. Drop the thumbs up on the video. That goes a long way to help out the YouTube algorithm. You can also share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. If you're watching us on demand, you could sound off in the comment section. We love to interact with you there. If you're listening to us on all your audio platforms, you can drop a 5-star rating, drop a like, subscribe, so you always get notified whenever we have a new review of a pay-per-view. We do reviews on AEW, WWE, NJPW, and TNA pay-per-views here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Plus, we sprinkle in a couple of more promotions as well. And of course, if you're with us live, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on last night's AEW WrestleDream pay-per-view. We would love to interact with you. So let us know what you thought. And of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you can send a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to contributors that you see on screen with us here. Goes a long way to help the channel grow and move forward. Allows us to do more AEW pay-per-view reviews. So we always appreciate the support. We got here in the chat with us today, Valup, who sends us a super chat donation. Thank you so much, Valup. He says, overall, a solid, but everything on the show went long, and it did feel like that cut into the main event. Even that felt equal because women got time. So, yeah, I mean, that is the issue with AEW pay-per-views, and we have already seemed to give AEW the solution to this. The one solution is cut time and don't do the 5-hour pay-per-view or 4.5-hour pay-per-view, but they don't want to do that. They want to give you more bang for your butt. They want to give you these longer pay-per-views, but the solution is run in the afternoon. That's the simple solution. We didn't hear the complaints about a long pay-per-view really for All Out. We didn't hear that complaint for Forbidden Door. Didn't hear that complaint for All In. We are hearing it for WrestleDream because the show started at 8 p.m. Eastern and it didn't end until past probably 12:30 a.m. the next day. So yeah, I can understand if it went over long. That I disagree. I think it was a little bit better than a solid pay-per-view. I thought it was a very good to great pay-per-view. As far as like the in-ring work, AEW, I never have an issue with the wrestlers on the roster. When Tony Khan is out the way and it's not really up to the booking, I tend to love AEW because the wrestlers in this roster is phenomenal, especially when it comes to pay-per-views. But I will say, last night there was a lot of good booking decisions by AEW and a lot of forward thinking in regards to setting up things for Dynamite and the next pay-per-view. So I like that from the creative side of things on the pay-per-view. But what's your overall thoughts, Kris?
Yeah, I do think they got to work on the pacing of these shows, especially if they're going to run them like during primetime hours, because, when a show, you need to have some breathing room from the last match in the end too, so you could tell things ran a little bit longer. And like you said, Sid, TK is he's not gonna cut these shows, make them shorter. That's just not something that's gonna happen. So if they insist on running long shows, they gotta work on the pacing. That's my only complaint about this. And I watched it this morning, but I could tell the pacing was a little disjointed,
Yeah, and it's also, you can see that with the crowd. The crowd is not into kind of certain matches in the middle of the show because of how long they've been there, and they were there. A lot of the crowd was there for the start of the pre-show. for the tailgate.
Right,
brawl.
yeah.
So they had to
Yeah.
sit there for 5 hours, had to have dinner, use the
Yeah.
bathroom, get beer, walking back and forth. Like, they tired
Yeah.
by the time we get to like even like Timeless Tony Storm versus Kris Statlander, which I thought was one of the better wrestled matches on the show, but the crowd reaction to it hurt it because of the pacing of the show.
Right, yeah. When I went to that show in New Jersey a couple years ago, yeah, it's just an all day affair, you know. Yeah, man, they gotta like I agree with you. Maybe just consider doing the afternoon shows every month, just because these are long ass shows, and even if it's a great show, you still feel that.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Josh, what's kind of your overall thoughts on the show?
I mean, the show did go long, but I think we're at a point where it's like I'm kind of acceptable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Pay-per-views are always going to be long. I do agree with, for certain shows, maybe the afternoon would be a good idea. Their numbers and their metrics, hey, the afternoon hasn't hurt it too. So, I think that's I think that's something that should be considered, especially if we're doing like a 5-hour pay-per-view, stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
As far as like last night, I mean, I didn't have too much problem with it just because, at least I'm off the next day. If this was a Sunday, then I would have more of an issue with it.
Right,
but
yeah.
Somebody like me, I can't speak for everybody because there's people who do work Sundays. So I can only speak for myself. For me, at least it was fine. I didn't mind it just because, all right, Saturday night, I'm off the next day anyway, But I do agree that there's some kind of, if this is where you're going to go with your pay-per-views, if you're going to run it 5 hours, you're going to run it 6 hours. I think the afternoon should be like the move to go with, because even New Jersey next month they're doing Full Gear next month. I'm personally not going just because of that late time. Traveling back at that time would be more of a pain in the ass compared to like the show ends like at 8:00 itself.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Come
no
on,
issue.
WWE, book a NXT show on that day, please. Book an NXT show. Make them go to the afternoon.
Yeah, basically, at this point, that's all. That's probably the only way it's gonna get pushed up. But something like that, you know what I mean? Like, because like even though I think it's on a Saturday, right? I think that's on a Saturday, but just the transit alone, it's 2 stops from Penn, but you're talking about like an hour and a half destination just to get back to those 2 stops. You know what I mean? So that's why I wouldn't want to do it. But, at the same time, I think it's something that they should consider.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree there. But we're going to talk more about that, I suspect, as we go on the road to Full Gear. But like I said before, sound off in the live chat, send those super chat donations. It helps us out so much. And you can steer where the conversation is going. If you have a hot take, have an opinion on last night's show, let us know in the live chat as well. But as always, with our pay-per-view reviews, before we get into the show, give us, Kris, your one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on AEW WrestleDream last night.
I'd say excellent. It was a very good show.
What about you, Josh?
I'm gonna say insane, because man, a lot of those matches, a lot of close finishes, a lot of close pins, and like I said, the main event. I mean, man, like insane stuff. I mean, glad. I mean, I already knew that the pay-per-view was going to deliver on their own way. I knew the performers are going to be, but the fact that you're missing your top stars and you still kind of put out this kind of pay-per-view, that's very telling of the type of talent they have in AEW.
Yeah, they're very deep. Very deep, this roster. But let's get into the show. We're going to start with the Saturday Tailgate Brawl we had on TNT to start off the festivities from St. Louis, Missouri. It was about, I believe, over, I think, between about 6,500 in the building for the show, 6,500, 7,000 in the building for the show. So not the biggest crowd, but man, they were here from the start. They were packed and they were ready to go for this opening matchup with the Death Riders, Daniel Garcia, Willie Yuta, Pac, and Claudio Castagnoli versus the conglomerations, Orange Cassidy, Tomohiro Ishii, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong of Paragon. And man, all 8 of these guys just went out here and just went balls to the wall to kick things off to get this crowd going. You got Strong, knocks Garcia down to start, and it's off to O'Reilly to strike away. You get Cassidy adds his basement drop kick, but Yuta slams him down to cut off things. We take a commercial break, and then we come back to Ishii and Castagnoli just going at it, clubbering one another with forearms until Ishii is knocked into the corner. The Death Riders take turns beating on him until a double clothesline drops Garcia and Yuta. Tag into Orange, and he starts running wild for a bit, cleaning house until Claudio catches him with the swing. That's reversed into a choke, and the Death Riders all get caught in abdominal stretches. These are all broken up, and we get a second break. We come back from that second break, and Cassidy is not being able to sunset flip Castagnoli. Instead, he gets over with a Hurricane Rana and then makes the tag to Roderick. Roderick starts running wild and hitting all his big moves. It comes down to Ishii and Pac in the ring together. You get everybody coming in, hitting their big moves. Pac hits a German suplex on Ishii. Then Cassidy comes in. He grabs a tornado DDT. We then get Ishii, who turns Pac inside out with a lariat, only to be chop blocked behind the referee's back by Willie Yuta, leading to Pac hitting a big old lariat and hitting a running Psycho knee for the 1-2-3. Pac picking up the victory here for the Death Riders in what I thought was a very good opener to the 0 hour or the tailgate brawl here. I gave this one 3 3/4 stars. Josh, what did you think?
It was a good opener. This is one of the few you could say pre-shows that I've tuned into just because it was on TNT. At first, I thought it was on YouTube, and then when I was told, like, oh, it's on TNT, I was like, oh, shit, let me change it there. So I was able to watch the whole thing. It was a fun opener.
Yeah. What about you, Kris? Were you able to watch this one?
Yeah, I was able to watch it. I saw the clips on Blue Sky this morning, and it was a good match. I'm still getting used to Pac's haircut, but it was a great opening match.
Yeah, I think my only kind of criticism would be that it took a little long. It was I went like 16 minutes, so I was like, oh man, I wonder how they're going to time out the rest of the matches on the tailgate brawl. And boy, oh boy, did I learn what they would do.
The foreshadow.
Yes, it was some foreshadowing there. Valab saying, can we talk about the new conglomeration theme? I like it. I'm down with it. It is very 1990s TV coded. Yes, indeed. But up next, you get a quick squash matchup. Actually, is Eddie Kingston and Hook. They're going against the Frat House. Frat House jumps them from the start. They answer the open challenge. We get an inset interview from the faction Ingonables, who are not done with Hook and Kingston. It's Kingston who hits a spinning back fist and then red rum by Hook to put away Cole Carter to get the victory for the duo. Not much to this one here. This was like 3 minutes, probably the worst match on the entire between the tailgate brawl and the WrestleDream, but it wasn't meant to be anything other than a squash, so to be fair. Chris?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I was trying to gauge if Kingston was back in wrestling form, and I really couldn't from the match. So, but it was fine. Like you said, it was a squash, and we move on.
Josh?
I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. We get the Costco guys are in some bar in Florida, and Roppongi Vice comes in and they interrupt them. They'll be it's Big Boom AJ and a mystery partner versus Roppongi Vice at Full Gear. They attack Big Boom AJ right in front of his son. His son is left to have to watch his father being assaulted. This was sad. Did anybody else cry? I cried. I cried a little.
Didn't they choke the kid out a couple of weeks ago? I mean, it ain't the worst thing that he's dealt with.
I mean, I'm just saying, this is horrible. Horrible. How could they beat up a poor defenseless father in front of his son?
He's gonna get his look back in Jersey.
There we go, and his home field advantage. Then you get tag team action. We get Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford teaming up to face Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron. Right from the start, you get Willow showing off her power. She knocks down Ford into the corner, fires off some clotheslines. Cameron comes in with a basement dropkick, but she's smart enough to hand it back to Willow to face Megan Bayne when she comes in. They start using their power and colliding into one another. We come back from commercial break, and Cameron is hitting a spinning DDT to drop Bayne and get the tag off to Willow. We go for the Babe with the powerbomb, but that's countered into a Hurricane Rana. We get Bayne tosses Ford into Nightingale into a stunner, which looked really good. Everything breaks down again, and we get a series of knockdowns, leaving all four women down, with the crowd getting hot for this, with "This is awesome" chants. They were really into the final few minutes here, as you get Nightingale in a clothesline on Megan Bayne, who is right back with the middle rope double clothesline. Cameron rolls out of a doomsday device. Ford hits a fireman's carry, we'll say gut buster, to drop Cameron. Cameron hits a pump handle suplex and then tags in Willow, who puts Penelope Ford away with the Babe with the power bomb for the 1-2-3. This one, you could say, probably went a little bit longer than you thought it would from the start, but I thought they worked really hard here to make this a good matchup. So I gave this 3.25 stars. Josh, what did you think?
Same. I thought the match was fine. All the ladies did what they could do. It was a good match.
Kris?
Yeah, I thought it was a great match too. Is this the second month in a row that Willow was on the pre-show? I'm trying to remember. Because I got
yeah, she was on the pre-show at All Out.
All right, so I do think that TK's got to probably put her on the main show next month, because I got the alerts from my followers, so that's the only complaint I'd say about that.
Jimmy Macaram's still holding you to Willow's gonna be a star claim that you made when you did your review with him a while back. He's like, I'm still waiting for that Willow Nightingale push that Kris told me was coming.
Yeah, well, I think she's a star. It's just they got her on the pre-show, and I mean, again, it's an AEW, so it's a packed. It's every pay-per-view. You can't get everyone on the main show, but you two in a row is a little much. I think you can I hope it's not 3 in a row.
Yeah, you gotta watch that, sir. Get it together. And I think it is. It has been 3 in a row, because I think she was on the 0 hour for Forbidden Door. I feel like it is a little bit more acceptable now, the last 2 shows. Now that the pre-show is on TNT, I don't think it's as like, oh, you're getting a downgrade as some people will perceive it, because of, pre-show for years has had that stigma to it. But the fact that it's on TNT, you're actually being seen by more people that's going to watch the pay-per-view. So
yeah, that's true.
I can get by that, and that's why I was actually acceptable of the next match being on the pre-show, because I was like, you're on TNT now, you need bigger stars, because I didn't think the one of the teams in this next match should be on the pre-show either. So I understand where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into it. Let's talk about it, because honestly, guys, this might have there was better matches on this show. This is not the best match on the show. but this might be my favorite match on this show. FTR versus Jet Speed, which was supposed to be the main event of the tailgate brawl. So the bell rings, and we already see on the countdown clock for the pre-show, there's 4 minutes, 20 seconds to go before the pay-per-view starts. So yes, this show, one of two kickoff shows, is going to have an overrun, it seemed like, but we get Knight. He gets taken into the wrong corner to start, but he jumps over them and brings in Bailey to clean house. FTR is sent outside and taken down again with some stereo dives. Knight dives off the barricade to take down Dax, but a running DDT is blocked back inside. They all crash to the floor with suplexes that go to ringside, and that's the end of the kickoff show. We get commentary signing us off, saying that, if you want to see the ending of this matchup, you have to switch over to the pay-per-view. I thought this was a sublime choice. I've been wanting for a wrestling company to do something like this, to hook people in, to be like, yo, you're getting the start of this matchup, and it's going to get even better when you turn on the pay-per-view. And boy, oh boy, did the final 7-8 minutes of this match fucking slap. You get the pyro going off as all four guys are just going crazy. They're just brawling in the ring, all four men. You get Harwood with a power driver on Bailey for a 2 count. You get Knight with a DDT, gets the same 2 count. He rams Wheeler into Stokely, who gets on the apron. Wheeler sends Bailey into the apron. The sharpshooter goes on for Dax, with Knight having to make it and crawl to the ropes. We get the Powerplex is broken up by Jet Speed, but the Shatter Machine is able to connect on Kevin the Jet Knight, only for Speedball to hit Shooting Star Knees, the ultimate weapon, to break it up. Huge pop for that. Bailey kicks away at Dax. It's those two left in the ring. We get another Powerplex attempt. We get needs to block it. UFO splash by Kevin Knight, needs to block that as well. Bailey suplex is broken up with a trip by Stokely at ringside. He holds on to the foot. We get the old Rick Rude Ultimate Warrior finish, where the manager holds on to the foot, give them the leverage to get the 1, 2, 3. FTR once again cheats thanks to Stokely to get a victory over Jet Speed. They are now 2-0 against Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin the Jet Knight. And guys, this was a brilliant matchup. Brilliant was the choice to have this match start with so little time left in the kickoff show, and then have a banger ass second half of this matchup to kick off the show red hot, with the St. Louis crowd going crazy from the opening seconds of the show. The crowd's going crazy because you got 4 guys brawling in the ring. You got pyro going off. This felt like a AEW tag team party match. This was so much fun. This was an absolute blast. I give it 4.25 stars. FTR is on a god tier mode right now. This is why I was like, why are they on the pre-show? They should be on the main show. But if this was the idea and they went out here and executed it so well, hats off to AEW, because I didn't see this coming. Bravo to all 4 guys. Jet Speed has been one of the best additions to the tag team division, and they kicked off a night that will be remembered, I think, for years to come, as the tag team division saying, oh, we're back and we might be better than ever on this show, because tag team wrestling, spoiler alert, may just be the MVP of this whole entire show, and it starts here. Kris?
Yeah. I like this a lot. I remember WCW Saturday Night doing this kind of thing a couple times back in the day when they would have a Saturday pay-per-view and WCW Saturday Night was on, and then they would kind of do the tease into the pay-per-view. So I thought that was a great idea, a good hook to get you to buy the pay-per-view. And the match was a lot of fun, and Stokely doing the Ultimate Warrior finish, I thought that was funny too.
Josh?
It was a great match, and I didn't mind the start. I didn't mind how they did it, just because, again, it was a business strategy. Sometimes you never know if it's going to work or not, but you try it out. And this was something that they wanted to try out, where it's like, all right, we have something on regular TV, and if you want to tune in, hey, we got a pay-per-view that you could buy to see the rest of the match. You know, it was a business strategy all around. Going forward, I just hope this is not the norm. You know, I think if you do it like once in a while, you know, once every few months, or even like once a year, I wouldn't mind something like that. Just so you won't get too comfortable with it. But I didn't mind it. But then also the match did deliver. Like, you know, especially when you put FTR in the spot like that, you know, FTR kind of got the best of both worlds. They had a pre-show match, and then, oh wait, you guys are you're in the pay-per-view too. So, you know, the fact that they were able to do that, you know, and deliver a great match. I mean, complaints for me, honestly. I really didn't see an issue with it.
Me either. I think it's kind of goofy to complain about it. And really, I just know the people that complain about it probably wouldn't complain if WWE did the same thing. But you got Valab. It says, anyway, technically speaking, he says, I was right. Tekla and Hayter was the first match on the main card. As soon as I saw the report that said that was going to be the first match on the main card, I thought of you, Valab, but you weren't right, because this wasn't the first match on the main card. It was definitely FTR and Jet Speed. But yes, I agree with also Power Driver Finisher. I liked it a lot. I don't understand the complaint. This was a smart way to hook in a few more extra buys from the TNT viewers into the pay-per-view, and it gave us a hot start to the show. We get the widow of Luthez. Charlie Thez is here in the front row to see the festivities for tonight. We then get a video package for our next match, which is Jamie Hayter going one-on-one with Tekla, going over everything that's happened between the two women since Tekla debuted when she attacked Hayter. This is their first time ever going one-on-one ahead of the big Blood and Guts matchup next month. Everyone is banned from ringside. That was announced on the pre-show. Hayter kicks her in the face to start, and then hammers away on the mat before pulling Tekla back up. Tekla needs a breather on the floor, so Hayter follows her out for some rams into various things at ringside, like the barricade and a steel chair. Some chops connect in front of Luthez's widow, a rather sweet woman, but Tekla is backed up and hits a big dive off the top to the floor. Hayter's back seems to have been banged up on the crash at ringside, so it's affecting her the rest of the matchup. Back in, and Tekla slows things down, including a triangle choke over the ropes. Hayter gets in a forearm and cuts her off. You got a snap suplex for a needed breather. Running clothesline. She looks for a brainbuster, but Tekla is able to knee her in the head for an escape. Tekla catches her on top, only to get dropped with a headbutt. Some kicks to the head set up a fireman's carry backbreaker, the Ushigoroshi, to put down Tekla. Then she hits a running sliding lariat for a 2 count. They forearm at each other from their knees until Tekla is back up. Tekla applies the Black Widow submission. That makes sense. But Hayter is able to reverse things into a backbreaker. Tekla pulls her into something like a Black Widow on the mat, but once again, that's broken up when Hayter's able to get the ropes. Tekla is able to avoid a big Hayter lariat and hits her running spear. Hayter just shrugs that off, though, as Tekla goes for the spider pose and once again goes for another spear, but Hayter just clotheslines her out of her boots, rocking her right out of her jaw, and then picks her up, grabs the arm, hits the Hayter raid for the 1, 2, 3. Jamie Hayter picks up the win in this grudge match. Post-match, you get Queen Aminata coming out to celebrate, hugging Hayter as they celebrate this big victory ahead of Blood and Guts on November 12th. Really good matchup here. I thought this had the right kind of intensity, and it was hard hitting. I thought this was a very strong showing for Tekla, probably her best performance since debuting in AEW. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I like this one a lot too. I thought the action Tekla, she was someone I wasn't sure about. Not saying she wasn't good, it's just I wasn't sure about her, but I think she'll be a star also. So Jimmy could quote me on that as well.
Josh.
No, it was a good matchup. I like the chemistry between both ladies, and I do feel like Tekla, she's been coming onto her own in AEW. Seeing her more, I think that's helped a lot. Sometimes that's all they really need. Sometimes when you transition over from another company to the other, is the time that's needed. And if you're on TV more, people will be familiar with you more. You get more work, more reps, and I think that's really helped her a lot. But overall, I mean, it was a fun matchup.
We got Emmanuel who says Tekla's transition to AEW seamlessly. Same with Dustin who says, like the match, Tekla really has done a good job in her time in the promotion so far. They've established her through Triangle of Madness and this rivalry with Jamie Hayter, as well as the rivalry with Queen Amanada. So they've done a really good job. This was her first singles loss as well. So they've protected her in a big way. Also, I think coming off of this victory, we probably get Jamie Hayter challenging for one of the women's titles in the future, probably before the end of the year, since it seems like both women's titles are going to be tied up at the next pay-per-view. Maybe at like World's End, we get Jamie facing the winner of that match.
That'd be cool to see. As long as she stays healthy, because that's been the issue with her.
Yeah, and she doesn't own a victory over Kris Statlander in the Owen Hart Cup earlier this year.
Ooh.
But you got a recap of the Young Bucks and Jurassic Express, everything that's gone down since Jurassic Express made their return at All Out. And then you get the entrance for the Young Bucks, and this shit was hilarious. This is a callback from one of my all-time favorite movies, ladies and gentlemen, Blank Check. Oh my God, I marked the fuck out. I marked the fuck out because I understood. I was like Leo. I was like Leonardo DiCaprio from The GIF. I'm like, I understood that reference. I'm like, yes, I get the Easter egg. This is awesome. You get the Bucks coming out. They are given the tagline of the $32.17 Bucks, which is hilarious as well. Jurassic Express, of course, gets a big pop. People singing along with their music. You get the Bucks music was just the basically the insufficient funds, transaction denied. Insufficient funds, transaction denied, which was hilarious as well. And oh my Lord, I knew this match would be good, but they went out here and had a fucking killer matchup. Everyone involved put on some of the best performances that they've done in years, or at least in 2025. You get Perry and Matt Jackson. They start things off with an exchange of shoves and words exchange until Matt hammers down on Jack. Jack comes back. He goes after the arm before handing it off to his big old dinosaur, Luchasaurus. Nick Jackson comes in and he gets powerbomb onto Matt. So the Bucks head outside where Luchasaurus moonsaults onto them off the apron. Perry dives onto them as well as gives a rather Adam Cole looking smile. Matt Jackson is able to come back with the sliced bread on the floor, leaving Nick to check on the money. Back in, we get a backbreaker slingshot leg drop combination from the Bucks, have Perry in trouble at this point. Matt knees Luchasaurus off the apron and drops Perry again, allowing the Bucks to do their double bicep pose. Perry is hung on the top rope, and they try for the double stomp into the power bomb, but Perry's able to reverse that into a Hurricane Rana on Matt. Either way, it allows him to get the tag to Luchasaurus, who has to flip away from a double super kick. Matt gets chokeslam onto Nick, and then a reverse powerbomb cutter combination from Jurassic Express gets a 2 count. It's back to Perry. He gets tagged in but then he gets draped over the top rope. We get the double stomp, sit out powerbomb combination. It works this time for a 2 count. Perry gets kicked in the head and winds up on Matt's shoulders. Then Nick winds up on Luchasaurus' shoulders, and we get a chicken fight. That doesn't last long until Perry has to escape the TK driver on the apron. A power bomb onto the apron sets up a spike power driver double stomp combination. The Lucha Bros fear factor by the Bucks on Perry for a 2 count when Luchasaurus breaks up the cover. We get the BTE trigger. Luchasaurus breaks up that cover as well. We get him back up. We get a choke slam into a standing moonsault, gives Luchasaurus a 2 count. We get this beautiful sequence where Luchasaurus just goes crazy for a bit, where he gets knocked down by the Bucks. They do the double bicep pose. As they're doing the double bicep pose, Luchasaurus raise up. He gives him in the double goozle, does a kip up into a double choke slam on the Bucks. That was crazy looking. We get a doomsday device by the Jurassic Express, gets a very close 2 count. At this point, this St. Louis crowd is going crazy for every near fall, for every big spot in this matchup. We get the TK driver on Jack Perry. That only gets a 2 count. We get a TK driver on Matt Jackson. That only gets a 2 count when Nick breaks up the cover. The Bucks start firing off super kicks. They get the BTE trigger on Perry again. Luchasaurus able to break up that cover. Luchasaurus back in as Perry grabs a poison Rana. We get a poison Rana on both Bucks. They take out Nick. Then we get the extinction on Matt Jackson for the 1, 2, 3. This was a fucking awesome matchup. My Lord. The Young Bucks are also on God tier mode. I said that about FTR. I got to say the same thing about the Bucks. The Bucks have been absolutely sensational. A tag team of the year campaign. They have been in some of the best tag team matches of the year. In my opinion, still the best tag team match of the year. Swerve and Ospreay versus the Bucks at Allin. But this is right up there. This is balls to the wall, non-stop action from the minute go. But then you also got the storytelling with the Bucks whole money characters with their story with Jack Perry feeling betrayed. You had the callbacks to the TK attack from last year with the Luchasaurus and Jack Perry doing the punch to the gut, and then the TK driver. That was a nice callback there. Some really good stuff. The tribute to the Lucha Bros. This had it all. I gave it 4 3/4 stars. I don't blame you if you gave it 5 stars, because this was absolutely incredible at times. All 4 men really went out there and just looked amazing. The Bucks with a virtuoso performance and made Jurassic Express look like one of the best tag teams, not just in AEW, but possibly ever. And my Lord, this is what we needed to do with Jack Perry for years. The scapegoat look with the Jungle Boy moveset. That's all this is. Jungle Jack Perry, it just works. He was so fantastic as a babyface in this matchup, but quite possibly the MVP of the whole match is Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus was put on the best performance of his damn career. My Lord, what a match. Post-match, you get the Jurassic Express. They try to make amends with the Bucks. They even try to offer them some of the money until the Don Callis family, Josh Alexander, Mark Davis, and Lance Archer, they attack from behind. They attack the Jurassic Express. They try to get the Bucks to help them attack, but the Bucks just decide to leave. Bucks are walking away when the music of Kenny Omega hits. Omega comes out and he confronts the Bucks, telling them to go help Perry and Luchasaurus, but they are not with it. They decide to walk away. So Omega has to go into the ring alone. Jurassic Express recovers. The babyfaces fight off the Callis family, and they stand tall. Like I said, incredible matchup, incredible tag team performance by all 4 men. Post-match was fun to get Kenny Omega out here and continue the rivalry with the Callis family. So really good stuff all around. Chris, what did you think, Jurassic Express and the Bucks, as well as the post-match?
Yeah, I thought this was great too. You like you were saying about this is a safe position for Jack Perry, you know, until I think this is a safe position for him, and this is just where he needs to be until he gets some kind of character development. but I like him in this position. I think the fans like him in this position. The Young Bucks, yeah, they've been funny the whole year. They've been great the whole year. So I would definitely put them in the tag team of the year consideration. And I did thoroughly enjoy this match. So yeah.
Josh, what about you?
Oh, I mean, this was a great matchup. I mean, the close finishes, that's what got me. Because I was like, man, this match could have ended so many times. And then it just kept going. Right. And for me, it was like a good thing. You know, there were some people who said the match went too long. I don't think it went too long. I think it was kind of right. I think it was kind of perfect.
The crowd was with it the entire way.
Yeah, and I'm like, and then sometimes that's what you need, and especially with where the story has been with more so Jack and the Bucks more than Luchasaurus. I think this is something that you had to do for it to like solidify what you've been doing, because Jack has been gone for months, so you have to do something that's going to be meaningful, and I felt like this match was meaningful. Even putting up the money in the line originally yesterday, I said the Bucks just because like I thought it was be their way to get to be rich again, and I was wrong as fuck. But I was happy that I was wrong about the outcome. And then the post match, I did like the post match. Seeing Kenny Omega, solidifying more, extending that that stuff, and then even the Bucks where the Bucks seem conflicted, but they're still on their heel stick because they just left. They didn't help nobody. They just left. So it's a continuation of where this is gonna come to.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting where their character goes next. It seems like we're heading towards them turning babyface and humbling themselves. I heard the suggestion. I believe it was on. I'm gonna say post wrestling. Someone suggested that this be the setup for the Blood and Guts. That instead of going the very likely but very predictable direction of doing the Death Riders for the men's Blood and Guts, they should do the Don Callis family against Kenny Omega, Jurassic Express, and the Young Bucks. On the next couple of weeks, you have the Bucks turn babyface, make the save for Kenny and Jurassic Express to set them up, teaming with them in Blood and Guts. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I do like.
Yeah. You got here MCats, a lot of compliments for the Bucks and Jack Perry and Luchasaurus in the chat. We got MCats who says Jack Perry was on a heater. You got Greg Carter II who says since they came back, the Young Bucks been young bucking. We also got Dustin who says the match probably went 5 minutes longer than needed, but goddamn, that match banged. We also got Valub who says Luchasaurus came back from near death to wrestle a match like that. Yeah, he came back from nearly dying due to pneumonia last year to come back and have probably the best match of his whole career. Hats off.
Insane.
Hats off.
Yeah.
Insane stuff. Insane. Next up, we get a video package for the Hurt Syndicate versus the Demand. It's a Tornado Trios matchup. During the tailgate brawl, it was announced by Tony Khan that it will be a number one contenders matchup. The winner of this match would get the opportunity to face the Opps for the AEW World Trios Championships. You get wild brawling right from the start here as the Hurt Syndicate is making their way down to the ring. The Demand take over and attack them from behind. You get Ricochet sending MVP into the barricade. Running Spirit Gun cuts Lashley down, and he gets set into the steel steps. Back in, you get Benjamin. He takes over on the Gates of Agony until Ricochet makes the save. Ricochet suicide dive and hits a suicide dive, and Leona hits a pounce that drops Lashley as he's laid on a table. You then get Benjamin, who is driven into Lashley on the table with an open the gates, laying out both the former AEW World Tag Team Champions. This leaves MVP on his own, surrounded in the ring with just GOA and Ricochet. Ricochet knocks him down and hits some running shots in the corner. sets up a running boot or rushing leg sweep combination for a 2 count. MVP manages to send them outside, though, and Lashley is back up with some running clotheslines. The Dominator gets a 2 count on Ricochet, but a superplex is turned into a double power bomb by a slightly modified Tower of Doom spot there. Then you get Benjamin starts going crazy in this matchup and really is the standout of the whole entire match as he just starts going nuts, gets a superplex on Ricochet over the top rope onto a pile at ringside. Then this man busts out a fantastic looking flip dive to the outside at 50 years old. God damn, Shelton Benjamin, you are still so awesome. MVP is back in with the balling elbow drop on Ricochet. Leona makes a save, but then Benjamin gives Leona an enziguri. Lashley spears him to the floor. That leaves Ricochet alone against the entire syndicate. Nice mirroring from earlier. But then you get Bishop Khan, who basically sacrifices himself for a Ricochet. He pulls Ricochet to safety. He gets basically beaten down by everyone in the syndicate. The step-up knee, the spear, covered by Benjamin. 1, 2, 3. Hurt Syndicate picks up the victory. They close the book on their rivalry against the Demand, and they earn an opportunity at the AEW World Trios Championships. That match will go down as it was announced later in the show. It will go down this Wednesday on Dynamite from San Antonio, Texas. It will be the Opps, Samoa Joe, Kazuchika Shibata, and Powerhouse Hobbs defending the AEW World Trios Championships against the Hurt Syndicate, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, and Bobby Lashley. Just like their match at All Out, I think that this was another one that really over-delivered. These two teams, two trios, just know how to have fun, very clubbering, big man matches. Even though Ricochet's not technically a big man, he's in there with 5 guys who can kind of work that hard-hitting, physical style, and it works for these brawls that they have. So I thought this was another really good matchup. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Josh, what did you think?
Same. It was a great matchup. I did like the idea of the tornado tag. Usually sometimes for some matches I think it's needed. For something like this, it was needed, especially the way that their feud has been going. And I do feel like the right team did win. It gives the Hurt Syndicate some momentum. It doesn't really hurt the other stable, in my opinion. So I thought it was the right move, especially now knowing what we're getting on Dynamite. Kind of makes sense why what happened end up happening. So it kind of works out at the end. But it was a fun matchup.
Yeah. This did not make too much sense to me at first. I was like, oh, why is Hurt Syndicate winning? I thought when it was made for the number 1 contender that the Demand was going to win because they're facing the babyface Opps. We would learn that one of the things I just said is not very true after this show. Kris, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm in your camp because I was like, why is the Hurt Syndicate I mean, I'm not surprised the Hurt Syndicate won, but I was wondering what happened. They're gonna clearly be the baby faces on Wednesday, and they might end up beating the Opps, but this was and Shelton Benjamin, my God, man. I don't think that 50 means what it meant, a while ago. It just doesn't. Shelton Benjamin comes out there and continues to impress. So does Lashley too. And MVP looked good. So good match for the old lads. Liked it a lot.
Absolutely agreed there. I agree with a lot of what the chat is saying here. MCATs, I don't agree with this because Tony Khan basically told us that there will be a men's blood and guts match. Like you said, I don't think there will be a blood and guts men's match. Tony Khan all but confirmed that there will be. And it's quite obvious. They have different options for the men. Like there's more, like we know the direction they're going for the women's blood and guts is going to have Triangle of Madness, Jamie Hayter, and Queen Aminata. I think that the caveat for the men's blood and guts this year is who's getting it. Is it the Death Riders? Is it the Don Callis family? It's going to be one of those bigger heel factions, and it just determines who they want to give that to.
Yeah, it's Tony Khan, man. Come on, he can't help himself. There will be a men's blood and guts match. So
yeah. I mean, at first I was against it. I mean, honestly, just because I felt like the women do kind of deserve their spotlight when it comes to it, but at the same time, I think they're doing it at the Greensboro
right? Coliseum.
Yeah, and that's a significant arena to do it at. You could get easily, if you put another honestly, if you put a men's blood and guts match, that's doing over 10K in tickets. So I think that's why
if they're doing two, they got to do the 3 hour joint. That got to be one of the weeks they do the 3 hours.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the business wise. I think that's the move you got to go, just because it could end up working out on that aspect of, moving tickets. Again, that's a big arena. Like when we were there, Sting's last match did over 16,000 people. So even if a Dynamite does 10K, that's a great showing for a weekly show.
Yeah, most definitely. It would be the biggest Dynamite of the year for sure by quite a considerable amount. Then you had a video recap of the rivalry between Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe, as they will be having their 5th match for the TNT Championship. Briscoe is challenging. Early on he takes down Fletcher by the arm. That is broken up rather quickly when Fletcher gets up. He hits some strikes to the double bicep, but Briscoe knocks him down and he heads to the outside. Back in, they stare each other down as commentary bickers over Briscoe's IQ with Don Callis talking crap. Briscoe knocks Fletcher to the outside and starts chopping away at him. We get Briscoe firing up. He goes for the bang bang elbow, the Cactus Jack elbow, but Fletcher is able to cut him off. A super kick, though, knocks Fletcher back to the floor, where Briscoe sits him in a steel chair and does a flip dive to the outside. The big running flip dive takes him out and crushes the chair. He's able to get back up, and he super kicks Briscoe down, power bombs him onto the steel steps, and then stomps away in the corner. We get a stiff-looking Michinoku driver with Briscoe landing high on his neck for a 2 count. Back inside, they start trading forearms, big boots, and clotheslines, and then they both go down. Briscoe fires up. He tries to go for a Death Valley driver, then for the J Driller, but Fletcher's got it scouted. Fletcher hits a beautiful-looking sit-out Liger bomb for a 2 count. Briscoe's belt being broken on the impact. They go to the corner where Fletcher slips out of a super razor's edge and grabs a top rope superplex for the big crash instead. They head to the apron again, where Briscoe hits the J Driller, leaving them both down on the floor. Back inside, you get Fletcher, who can't hit another superplex, instead being laid out as Briscoe hits the Froggy Bow for a 2 count. Another Froggy Blow to the floor connects with a standing Fletcher, followed by the standard Cactus Elbow, and then the Froggy Bow back inside for another 2 count. Briscoe hits a J Driller, tries to J Driller him down, but Fletcher is able to barely escape and gets the 2 count with his finger just on the bottom rope. We get a cutthroat driver attempt, but that's broken up as Fletcher slips out. He nearly crushes the referee, but that allows him the distraction to hit a low blow on Briscoe. He then hits the sheer drop brainbuster, but Briscoe kicks out at 2.99. Fletcher quickly follows up. He hits the Larn Dart in the corner, then follows up, puts him on the top rope, hits the sheer drop brainbuster on the top turnbuckle. Briscoe bounces across the ring. Fletcher's able to get the cover. 1, 2, 3 to retain the TNT Championship. This was an absolute banger. These two guys have nothing short of extraordinary chemistry together. Every time they go out there, they can do nothing less but produce excellent in-ring chemistry. Like, they just are off the charts with one another. It's usually either the best match of the night or one of the best matches of the night. On this occasion, it's one of the best matches on the entire show. Fletcher looks great as TNT champion, as he should. You had Tony Khan during the post-media scrum. He speculated about his interest in possibly doing a best of 7 between Briscoe and Fletcher, considering that their record is now 3-2, with Fletcher having the advantage out of their 5 matches. They would only need 2 more matches to complete the 7-game series, so should be interesting if they go in that direction. That would have to end with Briscoe, I think, winning the title, but Fletcher is just great. He feels like he's the guy that's at the next level, and it just felt like the crowd wasn't as into the near falls from Briscoe as I hope they would be, because they feel like Fletcher is probably on a higher level than Briscoe, which he is. So, but like I said, I love this matchup. Great match by both men. 4.5 stars. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, this was a great match, and Fletcher, like, it seems like every pay-per-view he levels up, and this one being no exception. Briscoe, I do think he's a wrestler whose time will come. It's just right now you got to go with the hot hand, and that's Fletcher. And I had no problem with this. So excellent match.
Josh?
Yeah, man, this match was fucking great. I mean, we all knew that it was gonna be, what it was, but man, they find a way to like even past that. Past the high expectations that we have for it, and I do like the idea of when they mention about like a 7-match series kind of thing. I don't mind it too much when you spread it out. I think if you spread it out, I think that's where it kind of can mean something. Sometimes when you do it like in a row, usually like when WWE does it, where it's kind of just like, all right, now it's just getting exhausting.
Right?
Yeah.
But I do like the fact that if you spread it out, it makes not only the rivalry mean something, but that alone, just because like you said, they've had 5 matches against each other, and then you wouldn't even think they had 5 matches against each other,
right? Yeah,
they've delivered.
I think you could do it where you just, when it's the 7th match time, just say this is their 7th match and make it a big deal. You don't have to go through the rigmarole of 7-man match series,
Yeah, you don't have to announce it beforehand. Like WWE just did that last year when they didn't announce the Andrade and Carmelo, and that did a lot for both guys. That was like the highlight of both guys' years. So I think they can do it now, saying, after that 5th matchup, Tony Khan has made official, we're going to have 2 more matches between Briscoe and Fletcher to determine who is the better man. He has to say best of 7 series, and match 6 is going to be next week on Dynamite, and then match 7 could be at Full Gear if Briscoe is able to win.
Or World's End. You can even try to push it back to World's End.
Yeah.
No, they're definitely using Mark Briscoe in the Continental Classic.
I
just know, like he's one of those guys. Jimmy made me peep game of why Claudio won the match against Roderick on Dynamite. He was like, "Oh, it's we got to heat up Claudio for the Continental Classic season," and I was like, "You're actually right. They do always push him the last 2 years around this time, so he looks like a threat in the Continental Classic." But that's what they're going to do with Briscoe.
Most likely, yeah. No, that's actually a good point. I didn't think about that. Just because he's been in the first 2, right? So it's kind of like, all right, Mark, you know the deal. Get into that tournament.
Dustin saying Fletcher always had the look and style to be adapted to a main eventer. He seems like the potential top guy in New Japan and now AEW. Yeah, he seems like a guy that's going to win the AEW World Championship, not just once, but multiple times. He feels like he's going to be like those top guys. It's going to be him and Ospreay in just a few years.
I've never seen somebody with buzz cut work out so well, where it's like, oh no, he changed his look completely. And then now it's like, oh no, keep your hair like that. Don't even bother to grow it back. Keep it like that, sir.
Yes. Yeah, it was random how El Clone just came out and just started posing. I thought it was someone else and it was going to be revealed. He was going to attack him and it was going to reveal it was someone else. So Dustin saying, big question now is who is going to be Fletcher's next challenger? That is interesting. I mean, they have quite a few options because like this roster, I think they have a bunch of guys. They did kind of exhaust through people that I think they shouldn't have. Because I think that the logical thing after Briscoe would have been Orange Cassidy, but they did Orange Cassidy. Well, they were forced to do Orange Cassidy. So maybe they could go back if they let Orange pick up a couple of wins on TV. They can go back to that matchup. But they obviously didn't want to do Orange Cassidy versus Kyle Fletcher because that was the replacement matchup for Hologram getting injured. So there's Orange. I'm trying to think who else could be in the mix. There's always, Darby Allin has always said that he doesn't view the AEW World Championship as the end-all be-all. His world title is the TNT title. So now that he's done with Moxley, he could go back after that. I think that Fletcher and Darby could have some killer matches together. So depends on what they want to do there.
Be a fun matchup.
Yeah. We got Davion. He said he loved this match, 4.5 stars. Christopher gives it 4 stars. We got you got Volop. He says they could easily face each other again at the C2. We also got Davion who says Kyle Fletcher has had a great 2025 in ring wise, and he has really grown into his own. We also got I Make Beats who says C2 stands for Claudio Castagnoli. It is true. Could be Kenny. It could be Kenny, but I mean, they should have been done this. This should have been Kenny at this show because he attacked him before All Out, and then Kenny came back after All Out and didn't go after Kyle. So I don't know if they're even going to follow up on that attack that Kyle Fletcher did to Kenny Omega back in September. So we'll see. I hope they do go to a Kenny Omega Kyle Fletcher match before Kenny decides to hang up the boots at least once. Then you got a video package for the Women's World Championship matchups. Kris Statlander going up against the former champion, the 4-time champion, Timeless Toni Storm. Very logical storytelling with this one. The former champion getting her rematch 1-on-1. Statlander is defending. Storm gets a very intricate entrance talking about how she is ready to meet her murderer, but death isn't ready for her. Statlander gets a whole sci-fi alien entrance as well that was spoken by Harley Cameron the entire way. They get into some grappling early on and grab headlock takeovers. Statlander's headlock is broken up with a head scissors, but she slaps it right back on. Storm is able to send her to the apron for a hip attack, but the tornado DDT to the floor is broken up. Instead, Statlander kicks her to the floor and then hits a quick moonsault, followed by a slingshot helio for a 2 count back in the ring. Body scissors stays on Storm's ribs, and a hard lariat drops Storm for another near fall. Storm comes back with a shot of her own, then hits a beautiful looking tiger driver for a 2 count. Statlander is able to shrug that off, and then it gets a electric chair and into a drop right onto the face, and then gets like a grounded Black Widow on the mat. Storm's leg makes the ropes, and her choke sends Statlander over the ropes as well. Something like a blue thunder bomb puts Storm back down as a 450 splash, beautiful 450 splash by Statlander gets her a 2 count. We get Storm shrugs off that and comes back with a German suplex. We get both ladies trading German suplex and showing off their fighting spirit for a bit here. Then we get Storm who walks right into a Saturday Night Fever by Statlander, but she's able to kick out. Storm goes for the Storm Zero on Statlander. Statlander pulses and is able to reverse it. Statlander was able to come up with a reversal or a counter for all of Toni's big moves throughout the matchup, and you could see the frustration growing throughout for Storm, who seemed to not have anything to figure out with Statlander, as Statlander was able to come up with an answer for everything that she had. We get the head scissors choke with the arm trapped by Statlander on Storm. Storm is having more trouble. She's stuck in the middle of the ring. She's not even able to get to the ropes. She tries to propel her body, but Statlander just forces it on even more. It looks like Toni is going to pass out from the submission, but instead, she just yells to Kris Statlander, "Fucking kill me already!" Statlander picks her up. She drops her with a second Saturday Night Fever. 1, 2, 3. Kris Statlander retains the AEW Women's World Championship in what I thought was a great match. I thought both women went out there, had a splendid performance, a damn good performance by Kris Statlander. I thought Toni Storm was she's always awesome in everything she does, but I thought her storytelling and her facial expressions throughout the matchup, the growing frustration with the fact that she wasn't able to hit some of her big moves, that some of her big moves didn't work, and that she couldn't figure out Kris Statlander. I thought that she told that story very well with her body language and her facial expressions throughout the matchup. Kris Statlander felt like she got through a hard-fought win here. I gave the match 4 stars. I know I was higher on this matchup than a lot of other people. I saw some people who were down on it, and I take that mostly into the crowd. This is where the length of the show started to show a bit, because I thought the crowd would be very much into this matchup because, you know, Toni Storm is such a big star, and Kris Statlander, she's so great in the ring, but they just weren't into it at the level that I had hoped. Post-match, you get Statlander celebrating. She hugs with timeless Toni Storm. They share a moment. Toni Storm gives her the ring to celebrate. Statlander's able to celebrate for a bit before the music of Mercedes Mone hits. The former TBS champion comes out. She gets on the mic. She says that Statlander had her moment. Now get the hell out of my ring. Statlander doesn't even step up to her or say anything. She basically just takes it and leaves. She would come back a little bit later, but that was a misstep, I think, in my regards, in my book, in regards to how you're making Statlander look. Like, she looked great coming out of that match, and then you kind of put a bucket of water on it a bit. But with Toni Storm, we would see her later in the show. Renee Paquette caught up with Toni, who was looking very distraught following another loss and not able to reclaim the AEW Women's World Championship. But then in came her friend, Mina Shirakawa, who would also have a match on this show and suffer some disappointment as well. They share a moment. They share a hug. Toni says that maybe it's time that they still have each other. They've lost everything, but they still have each other. And I think this was basically them teasing Storm and Shirakawa in the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship tournament, which we will get the update on that, or the bracket for that, on Wednesday's Dynamite. So, but what did you think about this matchup here? Josh, we'll start with you.
I thought it was a really good matchup. Both ladies worked well together. I felt like Statlander winning is still the right move, just because you want to give her a right title reign, to give her a long title reign to see where it goes. So I thought the match was solid, to be honest. I do agree with, like, the crowd probably started to feel like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a long night. But I do agree with Mercedes kind of coming out. Like, I get the point of it, but it did seem like like a little bro kind of moment, or like a little sis moment. I mean, she did get her lick back, but still, it's like one of those things where I was like, damn, she played the shit out of her, but then we end up getting what we get, after the next match.
Yeah. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah. I like this match a lot. I thought it was very important. I saw a lot of people online saying that Toni Storm should have won, and I was like, nah, because I think it was very important that Statlander won, because she won the belt in a multi-woman match and didn't pin the champ in that match. So she needed to beat the former champ to kind of solidify her. And right now she's cooking. You know, I think she will be a good, formidable champ. And AEW needs more top women, and they have a great women's roster. I just think they need more women in the upper echelon, and I think this kind of puts Kris more in the upper echelon. So I'm glad to see that she won the post match. You know, it was what it was, but the match was great.
Yeah, it just feels like they have to do a lot of hard work and really stay focused on building Kris Statlander up to be on the level of their top woman stars. Like Toni Storm, it was obvious in this matchup. She was the much bigger star in the matchup. So, you know, her losing makes sense because you're trying to build up Kris to be at that level. And that's why I think that it's also smart to throw Mercedes as a next challenger, because Mercedes is the second biggest woman star on the roster. So have Kris beat her as well. And then finally, the other big woman star is Willow. And like you said earlier, we got to get Willow back on the show. I think that the reign is going to end at the hands of Willow. I think Willow is the person to end this reign, but I think it needs to go to like into the next year. They got to keep giving her the big wins, the big victories against the top talent, and have her have like good to great performances like she did last night, and it'll go a long way. We got a lot of people talking about the matchup here. Volub says that Storm Zero escape. Yeah, I love the post. She posts into that and just kicks her upside the head. That was great stuff. Christopher gives it 4 stars as well. We got I Make Beats, who says I enjoyed it. Both women are great. Stat is a machine. We also got some love for the matchup from Davion, who says good match, 4 stars. We got M Cats, who says Ty J and Mina / Toni are top contenders. I think Toni and Mina are a lock for the finals. I think that's the whole purpose of Toni losing here is to transition her into the tag team division, and you're using her star power to make the tag team division seem important right from the start.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, that'll be a solid move. Honestly, they do that because you do need some. You know, they have been doing something with AEW with the women. A lot of the women working together, is either stables or pairing up. But having someone like Timeless Toni, who's arguably one of the stars in general in the company, I think that's a smart move to do to build up a division that's going to be needed.
Yeah. And I'm with you there, Emmanuel. I feel like that's like the first spot where you can do the title change to Willow would be like Revolution. If they don't do Revolution, you could do Double or Nothing or All In. But yeah, next year it's Willow's time. Willow's got to win this title. And but Willow's got something else to worry about in the interim, as it was announced that yes, we will get the bracket for the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship Tournament. It will be revealed this Wednesday on Dynamite. So you got Toni and Mina in the mix. You got TJ, like we said earlier. We saw Divine Vanity, which is Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford on the pre-show. We saw Willow and Harley on the pre-show. We know of the Sisters of Sin. We saw them come out on the stage after Tekla and Hayter. We saw Hayter celebrating with Aminata. So that's 6 teams already. What do y'all think? We think we're getting an 8-team bracket or 16-team bracket? What do you think they're going to do?
I don't know. I would. Yeah, I can see them doing.
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, they already got 6 teams. It's easy to come up with 2 more. Like they can just say, bring Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo as the Vendetta back. Put Mercedes with somebody, either like Robin Renegade, or you can have Athena with her, or Athena and Billy Starks. There's a couple of different directions that they can go in. So I think 8-team tournament seems to be the safe bet.
Yeah, I would say 8 is fair, just because I think when you do 16, you're gonna get so much throw-ins that is like Like, does this even matter? So I think if you get a solid 8, because there's already 6, some of them are already established, so you might as well just go with that.
Yeah. Next up, we had Mercedes Mone still in the ring following her disrespect to our AEW Women's World Champion. She's in the ring for a special open challenge. She has an open challenge for the TBS Championship, but not only for the TBS Championship, her open challenge is for any champion in the back to accept this challenge to face her for the TBS Championship and put their title on the line. So who would the champion be? Would it be Shuri, the new women's IWGP Women's Champion? Would it be someone from a different country coming over and making their AEW debut? Would it be one of the many CMLL women's champions like Hazuki, who has her history with Mercedes Mone? No, screw all that. It's just Mina Shirakawa, the Ring of Honor interim women's television champion. For this payoff, you shouldn't have even put this on the show. I understand we made history, 3 women's matches on the main card, but damn, man, you didn't even try to be creative with this one. And all we do is see Mina lose. How many times do I have to watch Mina lose? Last time I saw Mina, she lost to Kris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. Before that, the last singles match I saw her on Dynamite was against Mercedes Mone, losing for the TBS Championship. Like, come on, man. How many times? She only wins in Ring of Honor. Keep her in Ring of Honor then. This is title for title. This is a decent enough matchup, though. Shirakawa kicks at the knee to send Mone outside, meaning it's time for some dancing. We get a statement maker is broken up, but a second attempt works a bit better for Mone. We get that's broken up, and Mone goes for a backstabber into a gut buster. We get a figure 4 attempt by Shirakawa. That's broken up by Mercedes, who gets the Meteora. They trade forearms until Mone twists at the knee. The knee is bent over the top turnbuckle, and Shirakawa hits a top rope sling blade for a 2 count. The glamorous driver follows up for another 2 count attempt, but then the moneymaker is blocked. A glamorous driver is blocked. So Shirakawa grabs another glamorous driver, and she's able to hit it for another near fall. Now we get the figure 4 by Shirakawa. She has it locked on Mercedes. Mercedes tries to fight free. Naturally, she's able to eventually get to the ropes. Then that means a running Meteora, followed by a middle rope version of the Meteora, and then a running version of Meteora by Mercedes. She then goes for a third Meteora, but she's misses as Shirakawa moves out the way, hits a discus forearm and a big kick to the head. We get another figure 4 attempt, but that's escaped as Mone pokes her in the eye and gets a roll up for a 2 count. Statement maker goes on until Shirakawa reverses that into a roll up for another 2. The moneymaker, it connects as Shirakawa is down for the 1, the 2. Shirakawa gets her hand on the rope to save the matchup. Big pop for that near fall, and Mercedes had great facial expressions on that one, reacting to that. Mone is rammed into the turnbuckle a few times, but reverses a roll up. She gets a poke into the eye, a foot on the rope with the backslide. 1, 2, 3. Mercedes Mone retains the TBS Championship and is your new Ring of Honor Women's Interim Television Champion. Mone wins here. It was a decent enough matchup. I gave it 3.25 stars. This probably was the weakest match on the main card, only because it lacked in heat, because Shirakawa was a cold challenger to bring out here in this form. And the fact that Shirakawa has been ROH interim women's television champion for over 100 days, just make her the TV champion. What the fuck are y'all doing? Y'all waiting for Red Velvet, who's going to be out for like 4 months? Are y'all stupid? Mercedes is the interim TV champion, so she gets her 11th belt. She passes the record by Ultimo Dragon, officially making her Ultimo Mone. She gets a celebration afterwards, but that doesn't last too long as Kris Statlander is back out to get a measure of revenge. Monet goes after her, but Kris is able to reverse things. She hits an angle slam before Monet rolls out of the ring. Kris Statlander stands tall in the ring, holding up the AEW Women's World Championship, while Monet has to recover in the aisle and looks very upset at her celebration for becoming the longest reigning TBS champion and breaking Ultimo Dragon's record was interrupted by Statlander. So that leads to later in the show, we hear from Mercedes Moné. Mercedes has had enough. She's done with all of this. She's done with Kris Statlander and the disrespect that she gave her. So she yells at her for ruining her big night, and now she wants belt number 12. She wants the title that eluded her at All in Texas. So Mercedes challenges Statlander to face her for the AEW Women's World Championship at Full Gear next month in New Jersey. These two women put on two of the best AEW women's matches of all time, and especially last year at Full Gear 2024 and World's End 2024. So I suspect what they do next month at Full Gear, if it's for both titles, TBS and AEW Women's World Championship, that could main event the show. If you really want to establish Kris Statlander as a top star, you put up both titles and you have Statlander beat Mercedes in the main event of Full Gear, that would make her a top star. You could make the title change right after, because that solidifies her beating Mercedes in the first ever women's main event. So we'll see what AEW, how much investment they put into the build for that matchup here. But like I said, I enjoyed the match. I give it 3.25 stars, but it just felt weak heat-wise in comparison to all the other matches on this show. But I'm interested in Mercedes and Statlander reigniting their rivalry. Josh?
In regards to the match itself, yeah, I mean, it was a letdown. I mean, I love Mina, has nothing against Mina, but the fact that you kind of tease, current champion, and the way that you did it, I just don't think it should have been Mina on that spot. I mean, it's no fault of her own, but it's like you kind of tease something and you kind of trying to make it meaningful. You had a interim champion come out, not even the actual full official champion. You had the interim champion. So I think that's what really, it was cool seeing Mina because I like Mina, but it was like, that was probably the letdown of the night, in my opinion. But besides that, I mean, the matchup was fine. I thought both ladies worked well together. Mina had that close. She had that. She grabbed the rope. People popped for that because that kind of gave maybe some little glimmer of like, oh, maybe Mina finally is gonna win. Nope. Mercedes got her belt for number 11. Besides that, this is shit that Mercedes was saying about being disrespected. It was like, did you forget that you came out yourself first? Like you crashed Statlander's moment. But it makes it funny. It's heat, like that's how you catch heat, and that's how you solidify yourself as a good heel. But besides that, I mean, the fact that they announced the match for Full Gear already, I did like that move because it was like, oh right, like now you have a premium matchup for Full Gear. You kind of get that momentum for that pay-per-view to look forward to. And I do agree where it's one of those things where this could be the main event. Like if you make it a big deal, you put title versus title. If you don't have a significant opponent for Hangman, I think this is the matchup you go with for Full Gear. And it's not, it's kind of a homecoming for Statlander, because she spent a lot of time in Long Island, so it could be something like that. You never know. But I do like the idea of it. Hopefully, I'm not gonna put all my hopes up because like we've seen how shit goes like this. But I do like the fact that they did announce this kind of matchup for Full Gear so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, feels like a big matchup. The fact they're doing it at the pay-per-view right before it. Kris, what did you think about this?
Yeah, I thought the matches were fine. I I didn't think the interim match was necessary with Mercedes winning that, but potato. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day. Unless you're Mina, of course. But I am looking forward to Full Gear. I think announcing that match last night was a smart move. I think it should be the main event. If in like you said, Sid, if Kris wins that match, then it would kind of solidify her. I think being in the match, being in the main event would kind of means a lot as well, but winning that match, I think adds a little extra to it. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what they do here. Frantic World saying the real question is, will we see Mercedes on ROH SP3? That is a good question. I am going to say yes, you will see Mercedes on ROH. You will see her on ROH Final Battle. That's about it. Not the weekly show. Definitely not the weekly show.
Yeah, that's a say.
And yes, I do remember Davion did call Stat versus Mone 3 at Full Gear. We got a good question here by Dustin, though. He says, does anyone feel like it's too soon to run Mone for the world title again? It is too soon if you don't have a plan in place. Because the logical thing, like, I don't think that you should have Mercedes win the title. I don't think it's the right time for her to win the title. And I think that it is necessary for Statlander to get her win back after 2 straight losses to Mercedes. That would have been the big threat for this whole entire title run, was that when Mercedes turned back around and went after the title again. And I think that Statlander needs this victory over Mercedes big time to solidify her title run. So I don't think it's too soon. I do think that it will wind up being too soon if they don't have a follow-up for it, where you have to tell the story of Mercedes can't win the big one. She can win all the titles in the world, but the one title that she can't win, regardless of who's the champion, Toni Storm, Kris Statlander, hasn't mattered. She can't win the AEW Women's World Championship. She can get every title in the world. That's the one title that eludes her. That's an easy story to tell with Mercedes, who's had a character that has been based around having championship belts.
Yeah, it's this story kind of writes itself. Although if they do that story, they've been writing that story. I think with Mercedes going for the world title again, and if Toni Storm was still the world champ, I would think there'd be more credence to that point. But the fact that the woman that beat Mercedes lost as well, and she lost again in this pay-per-view, it puts Toni kind of at the end of the line, and Mercedes has the belt, so it makes sense for her to challenge for to challenge Statlander.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do in that regards there. We got some people who are over the belt collector thing. Donnie Patty, who says, love Mercedes as a performer, but I'm over the belt collecting. She just has to tell stories with it. If the story is, oh, I win all the belts, then that's not a good, compelling story. There has to be a point to all of this. And I think that the direction that they're going in, with the fact that she challenged Statlander and she would once again fail to win the AEW Women's World Championship, I think that will be, it will kind of make sense of the past few months since All In. She's had to win. She's tried to win more belts to kind of basically fill the void that she has felt since not being able to beat Toni for the AEW Women's World Championship. She loses again. She'll try to win even more belts, and then she'll still feel that void of not being able to win that one title that she's wanted so badly. So I think it's an easy story to tell. Hopefully they go in that direction. Next up, like I said, the crowd wasn't too much into the last 2 matches. Boy, oh boy, did they get the fuck into this one. as it was for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Konosuke Takeshita and Kazuchika Okada of the Don Callis family challenging Brodido, Brody King, and Bandito for the championships. Gets a nice little video package about the instant success of Brodido and Okada and Takeshita having issues and trouble. Takeshita gets a good reaction, especially when they announce him as the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. You get Okada and Takeshita looking like the goats that they are. And I'll just put this right up front. This is probably my favorite match. This is the best match on the show. As far as like 4 guys going out here and just putting on an absolute show for those people in St. Louis, these 4 men were well up to the assignment. Bandito and Okada start things off. We get a clean break. Okada gets backed up against the ropes for a standoff, but manages to take Bandito down with an elbow. Takeshita comes in for an exchange of forearms. Anytime Takeshita and Bandito were in the ring together, you got that energy of like, oh shit, here we go again, match of the year again, as they went at it with one another. Okada gets a neck breaker on Brody King. Okada then knocks Bandito off the apron. King gets fired up and fights back against the heels, allowing Bandito to come back in with a spinning high crossbody. Bandito's big moonsault to the floor takes down the Don Callis family. You get followed up by King dropping Bandito onto Takeshita back inside. We pause for the Macarena as Bandito is still trying to get Brody to do it, but he refuses. Okada breaks up the Macarena and does a middle finger version of the Macarena, which had me cracking the fuck up. He then goes after the banged up shoulder of Bandito. Takeshita sends the arm into the turnbuckle and followed up by Okada posting it. They really wore down the injured shoulder of Bandito in this one. King gets knocked outside for a bit as they continue to work over Bandito. You get one point where Okada slams him down. He hits the tree fall elbow drop off the top rope. He then does the Rainmaker middle finger pose. As he's doing it, Takeshita comes out of nowhere with a big senton onto Bandito, which makes him basically step in front of Okada. So it looks like Okada is flipping him off. So Takeshita gets pissed off and gets in his face. We get that whole big standoff. Bandito then comes back. He gets a code red, gets a 2 count on Takeshita. They trade some big strikes to the face before Takeshita counters the 21 plex though, and Okada comes in and hits a beautiful drop kick to Bandito into the corner. King gets a cannonball on Okada again. Takeshita gets planted for a shooting star press by Bandito for a 2 count. Back up, we get Takeshita shrugging off Bandito's chops. He knocks him down hard, hits a running knee, but he goes for the power drive knee, but Okada tags himself in, leading to some disagreement between the Callis family. The confusion lets Bandito get over for the tag to Brody. Brody comes in and starts going after the heels. He hits running shots in the corner, sets up for the Fire Thunder driver on Okada, gets a 2 count. Takeshita slips out of a Doomsday device attempt and manages a wheelbarrow suplex on big old Brody King, who no-sows it and clotheslines Takeshita. This leaves everyone down for a bit, so King is sent outside, leaving Bandito to kick at both of them. Okada and Takeshita have start firing off on Bandito and start hitting him with every big move in their arsenal. We get the bastard driver, we get a tombstone, we get double team combinations by the Callis family, we get one ridiculous spot after another. We get a quadruple German suplex at another point of the matchup by Brody King that had the crowd going crazy. You get Okada, who accidentally delivers the Rainmaker to Takeshita going after Bandito, but instead of being upset, Okada starts smiling ear to ear and then even flips off Takeshita as he rolls to the outside. Naturally, Bandito gets an X knee. He goes for the 21 plex with one arm, but the arm is too banged up from the assault from the Callis family. You get Brody King, who comes in. He drops Okada once again, sets him up for the 21 plagues from Bandito again. He tells Bandito, you don't stop fighting, telling the story of Bandito overcoming his injury. Brody goes through the ropes with a tope suicida on Takeshita, while Bandito does a one-arm 21 plex for the win. Jesus Christ, this was outstanding. One of the best tag team matches of the whole entire year, because not only did it have the high work rate of the Bucks and Jurassic Express matchup, but I thought the storytelling and the story beats of this matchup, the nuances of this matchup, the feet work and, you know, the timing of Takeshita and Okada is unmatched, but the chemistry of Brodido and the story they told with Brody King motivating Bandito to fight through the injury to pick up the win, where he pins Okada, becomes the first man this year to pin Okada in a matchup in AEW, and earns himself an opportunity at the Unified Championship. Post-match, you get the young kid with the mask. I've seen people say that this is Bandito's son celebrating in the ring with him. Bandito and Brody, they celebrate the victory, and we finally get a full circle moment for this team. This felt like a huge victory for the team because of how protected Okada and Takeshita are, and the story that they have going on, which I think is the best in AEW right now. But we get the big solidifier that this was a huge victory for Brodido. We finally got the Macarena. Brody King finally does the Macarena with Bandito to signal that they are at the top of the AEW tag team division. And not only that, Bandito has the opportunity to become a triple champion this Wednesday on Dynamite. Bandito challenges Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Unified Championship. Like I said, fellas, what a fucking matchup this was. This is just spectacular tag team work. The storytelling and the psychology with the Okada and Takeshita rivalry, where for a lot of this matchup, they seemed like they were on the same page. They seemed like they were working together. But as soon as they just, one of them wanted to one-up the other, it started to all fall apart until you get to the end with the Rainmaker, and then Okada's reaction was just flawless. Okada might be one of the best characters in all of wrestling today because of his timing and when he does his facial expression, when he does certain things. This was fabulous. I give this 5 stars. This was absolute perfection. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought this was a great match too. I did like the story between Okada and Takeshita going into it. I didn't doubt that Brodido was winning the match. It's never about the matches being predictable. It's about the journey to get you to that point. That's kind of the point of like superhero movies, right? You know, you always know the superhero is going to win. You just have to, it's the journey that you're on. So I'm interested in this, in what's going to happen with Takeshita and Okada. And yeah, the Macarena spot, I saw how a lot of people were happy about that. And that's what it's all about, those giving people some satisfaction. And the match was phenomenal too. So definitely thought it was the best tag team match on the show, and we'll see if I think it's the match of the night or not.
We shall see. Yeah, amazing work from all 4 men. Josh, what did you think?
Yeah, the match was incredible. You know, both teams killed it. I mean, when you have Okada and Takeshita together, I mean, you know, where can you go wrong? I mean, besides that spot, but you know what I mean, like as in chemistry, as in like working together. But I do like the fact that you did say that you know, not only that this match was high quality in the ring, but the storytelling within itself. You know, Bandito, you know, his arm injury, they're selling that, especially what the Callis family did, and then you know he had the shoulder pop back in too. So they're they were telling that even within the match itself. And then I do like that last, the last 5 minutes, Okada clotheslines to Takeshita, hits with the Rainmaker, and then
he moves
like,
the hand.
it's
It's because he reacts like this, like he's shocked, and then he moves the hand, and
he's fucking smiling.
He did from the middle finger. I was like, Okada might be the best character in this whole company. He might be.
That was great because I was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah, man. I mean, Okada's been great. Like, his character work. I mean, people can say what the fuck they want. Oh, we're not getting the Rainmaker. No, Okada's been fucking great in AEW. I don't give a shit what anyone says. Super, very entertaining. All around for him. But even that last moment, where Bandito couldn't get the move right because he had one arm, and then Brody motivates him. I thought that was great stuff because then Brody, he took himself out, so then Bandito could finish it up. I thought that was great. And then, I felt like the right team won. I mean, we kind of knew that Brodido was going to win. Sometimes you never know just because, Okada is in the match. But it's kind of funny that me and you kind of predicted. We were like, I think Brodido retains and Okada gets pinned. And that's exactly what happened. He got pinned. He's the one that took the pin.
Takeshita can't get pinned the same week he won the IWGP World Title, and it just made sense because you had Okada pin Bandito on the Eliminator matchup, so it made sense for it to do Bandito pins Okada, and you set up a unified title match. I just didn't expect we were going to get it on Wednesday, so we got another banger on the way on Wednesday.
That was fun. I mean, fucking killer matchup, man. I really like this team. I mean. We've gotten like a few throw-in teams, but the fact that this team has worked out the way that it has, I mean, it's been worth it. Whereas, like, damn, like they're fucking killing it. Especially the chemistry between these guys. Like, I know they've known each other for years, but the fact that we're getting what we're getting now, I mean, man, that tag division, I'm telling you, like, they really were able to kind of like clean it up, and I feel like they should continue that.
But what a night for tag team wrestling, man. Like, the whole tag team movement really started before Forbidden Door with that number one contenders tournament that they did. But damn, man, this was like the coming, like the whole movement of returning back to the apex of being the home of tag team wrestling that AEW was back in 2021. It started before Forbidden Door, but this felt like the what do they call it? Like the coming home party, like the homecoming party. This was like the coming out party. Excuse me. Yeah, that's what it is. The coming out party for the tag team division to be like, not only is AEW the home of tag team wrestling, we're better than everything else on this show. Like the tag team, between this match and Jurassic Express and Young Bucks, man, it's hard pressed to find anything as good. And the FTR Jet Speed matchup, it's hard pressed to find anything as good as those three matches on this card.
I mean, and it's something to each, like, to even each match, like you had Jurassic Express getting back together, and for them too, like they didn't lose a beat at all. It looks like they didn't fucking. It looks like they seem better because we're getting Jack, a different version of Jack Perry. When it comes to the FTR match, Jet Speed, that was also kind of a thrown-in team, and those guys have been killing it together too. So I mean, that kind of tells you it's kind of scary. Where it's like, maybe we get two good athletes and put them in the tag team, and let's see where it goes. So it's kind of crazy. In AEW, like that's how deep the roster is. Where it's like if there's no spots for you, a tag division kind of spot for you might be a place for you. And I think that's why it's worked out for Speedball. I think Speedball has been a great signing for AEW, low key, just because he doesn't necessarily need to chase titles. He just needs to be used, and that's what we've been getting from him. So I mean, it's been cool to see.
Yeah, Good stuff there. I made beats saying Okada getting Big Brody up for the neck breaker was crazy. Yeah, the air raid crash neck breaker on Brody. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, Okada went to 9 on the give a fuck scale. On the 0 to 10 give a fuck scale, he got to a 9 here. After last month, he was able to get a 5-star matchup on like an 8.5. He went to a 9 here and had another 5-star match. Like I said it when we were talking about the matchup. I gotta say it again. I think that Okada and Takeshita is the best story they got going on in AEW. Where like I know there's people that want it real soon. That's like, oh, Full Gear, give it to me at Full Gear. If I don't get it in the Continental Classic, even I don't think I'm gonna be that disappointed because I am loving the build up, the slow burn of it. Of what is it gonna take? What's gonna be the final nail in the coffin? What's gonna be that final step to have these guys split up and go head to head? I'm enjoying the road to get there a lot more than a lot of people that are just like, hey, I want it tomorrow and stuff.
Exactly.
I hear you, Justin, because I'm planning on going to Full Gear. I already applied for media for Full Gear, so I would love to be there live for it, but I'm not bent out of shape if I don't see it live. I'm enjoying this ride and the story that they're telling with these two guys.
Right. It's the journey, yo.
Exactly. We got Valop who says being in the tag team division right now isn't a relegation spot. It's just as important as the single star position. Yeah, the tag team division has never been like that in AEW, and I hate the fact that there are some people that have like created that stigma in regards. Like you had in the first year of AEW, Kenny Omega, who a lot of people thought should have been like the first AEW world champion. He did a whole year in the tag team division with Hangman Adam Page. And that was why AEW created the reputation of being the home of great tag team wrestling, was Hangman and Omega going at it with the Lucha Bros and with SCU and with the Young Bucks and FTR eventually. Like all of those matches created that reputation and that legacy that AEW tag team division had. And it would continued on with like the Young Bucks title reign and FTR's title reign and the Lucha Bros title reign. But it seemed like somewhere between Acclaimed winning it and then the Guns winning it and stuff like that, it started to hurt it a bit. FTR's reign in 2023 brought it back a bit with their rivalry with Bullet Club Gold and the Young Bucks and stuff like that. But then when you have like Ricky Starks win it, and it at that time, yeah, it did feel like a downgrade for Ricky Starks because Ricky Stark was like a single star on the rise, and then you just put him with Big Bill and have him go in the tag team division. Yeah, that feels like a relegation than what he should have been on, and I thought that hurt the image of the tag team division. And then the Bucks did not have a good reign last year, and then Private Party didn't have a good reign last year, and then Hurt Syndicate didn't have a reign earlier this year. So all of those bad reigns kind of brought down how we viewed the tag team division. But by putting the focus back on it, doing a tournament, creating teams like Brodido and Jet Speed, bringing back Young Bucks and FTR to their top form, bringing back a Jurassic Express, all of these things have created a great tag team division again.
Yep.
So I'm happy. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah, same here.
Let's talk about the double main event, because first up, we got the AEW World Championship up for grabs. Hangman Adam Page defending against Samoa Joe. Get a nice little video package before the match starts. Page is defending. We get the big match intros for both men. Joe backs up the champion into the corner and gets a cocky clean break to start off before grabbing a headlock. That's broken up, so Joe knocks Hangman hard to the floor for a breather. Back in, Hangman's kick to the face is shrugged off, allowing Joe to run him over with a big back elbow. Page fights out again, and he starts fighting back. He tries for a moonsault, which is broken up rather quickly. Instead, Joe low bridges him to the floor, where he avoids the moonsault again. Page drop kicks him into the barricade and then heads back inside. where Joe plants him with a Uranagi out of the corner, which looked really good. The ST Joe, excuse me. Then we get the double arm crank, keeps Page in trouble. We get a backsplash, gives Joe a 2 count. Page charges at Joe, but he runs right into a big old power slam by the challenger for a 2. Then we get the jabs to the face, but that only wakes up Hangman as he starts firing back off at Joe. We get an ensiguri, which staggers Joe. Then we get kicks to the head from both men as they start trading strikes. Running boot sends Joe outside so he slides back in, where Page almost entirely misses a moonsault. He only gets him with really kind of like his head. He gets a 2 count anyway. Joe power bombs him into the STF. Beautiful transition by Joe. That switched into a crossface, which is switched into the Rings of Saturn. Haven't seen Joe do that in a while. Love to see it. Page gets out and then power bombs him out of the corner for a 2 count. The Deadeye is broken up with Joe's shouting, come on, you motherfucker, which is exactly what Hangman does. He starts firing off some chops, some big forearms. The comeback is cut off as he goes for the buckshot lariat. Joe is able to reverse it into the Kikina clutch. It looks like Hangman is dead to rights. Hangman struggles and stretches. He tries to reach for the ropes, eventually getting his foot on the bottom rope to break up the choke. Joe puts him in the corner, puts him on the top rope, puts him in position for the muscle buster, but Hangman is able to reverse that into a Deadeye where he dropped Joe right on his fucking head. Hangman all beaten up. He's bloody from the mouth, but he goes to the apron. He hits one buckshot lariat. Goes to the other side of the apron. Hits a second buckshot lariat. Neither one are able to keep Joe down, who doesn't even go down to the mat. He stays on his feet. It's a third buckshot lariat. Joe collapsed to its back. Hangman covers 1, 2, 3. Hangman Adam Page retains the AEW World Championship in what I thought was a terrific bout. This felt like a fight. A lot of the show could feel kind of the same with matches basically staying in the ring. And a lot of that came down to the restrictions that they had in St. Louis. But this felt different from every other matchup on this show because it just felt physical. It felt intense. And it just had that grit that no other match on the show had. This was a great brawl between both men. I give it 4.25 stars. Hangman Adam Page continuing his excellent reign as AEW World Champion, and his reign would get better post-match. As Hangman is celebrating the victory, we get the Opps coming out to check on Joe. Respect is shown from both men as Hangman and Joe share their respect for one another. They actually shake hands. Hangman got what he wanted. He shook hands with Joe. Joe gives him a hug. He raises his hand. Then Joe clotheslines the AEW World Champion. Then the bigger shocker. I don't think anybody was really shocked by Joe doing this. The bigger shocker, Powerhouse Hobbs and Kazuchika Shibata, who hasn't been heel in 11 years. 11 years since he was heel in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He turns heel for the first time in AEW. The entire Opps turn on Hangman Page after Hangman beats Samoa Joe. Joe holds up the title, telling him that it is all about this. This is the reason this is happening to him. He nails Hangman in the head with the AEW World Championship. He then demands for Hobbs and Shibata to place him in the corner, place him on the top rope. Joe laughs in Hangman's face before putting him in position and delivering a muscle buster on top of the AEW World Championship, knocking out Hangman completely. Joe with this sinister smile. Oh my God, this was a superb angle. Because, I was expecting, because of how short the build to this matchup was, I was like, it doesn't feel like this is the end of this whole thing. It feels like it's the start of it. And I didn't know how they were going to reignite this to get another pay-per-view cycle out of this rivalry. But boy, oh boy, this was a excellent way to do it. This gets heat on Joe. You got Joe as a heel, which is always his best position. He's just so convincing, believable, and legitimized as a heel. It just works to perfection. But the big surprise to me was the Opps turning heel with them. That one I did not see coming, because I did not see Tony Khan turning Shibata heel in the year of our Lord 2025. 4.25 stars for the matchup, 5-star angle after the matchup. That was probably one of the bigger takeaways. If it wasn't for the main event, this would be the big angle, the big talking point from this show. Kris.
Yeah, man. I don't think any of us are surprised that Joe turned heel. I was a little bit surprised at Powerhouse Hobbs. Hobbs, I think he's just gonna be in this role for a little while, which is fine. It's just I was hoping I'd see a little bit more upward mobility out of him this year, but I mean, there's so many guys on that roster. He's not in a horrible spot. And this the heel turn was just part of the course. And the one thing I love about Joe is that he's always an instant credible threat for the title anytime with any company he's in. There's always instant credibility with him, and it's not something you have to really even do that much to manufacture. I thought with the few weeks they had, they did I wasn't loving Wednesday's show, but I thought with the few weeks they had, they did a decent job of building the match. The match was great. Hangman is probably an early candidate for Wrestler of the Year. I'd almost go as far as to say he is for me.
I honestly, I don't think it's that close. Like I think like if you follow Mexican wrestling, you could like throw in like your Mysticos. If you're following Japanese wrestling,
right,
there's Konosuke Takeshita with also what he's doing in AEW at the same time. But like Hangman, he just checks all the boxes. He's a draw.
Right, yeah.
He feels like the top guy. He's getting a major push. He's got the great matches, got the great promos, has the great moments. He just checks it all the boxes.
Right. And sometimes guys on their like second or third reign as champ is the like with Bret Hart, it wasn't his first reign as world champ that defined him. It was the second reign that solidified his credibility, and I think that's what's happening with Hangman at the moment. So yeah, man, I'm looking forward to see what happens. I guess I do think they're gonna run it back next month. I'd pay $50 again to see that. So
yeah, most definitely. I think they're going to add a stipulation to it as well. This was for the past matchup, the Brodido versus Callis family. We had a super chat donation from our boy Valub. Thank you so much, Valub, for the support. He says the greatest can they coexist match of all time. You might be onto something. It might be. Yeah. I think Kenny and Hangman versus the Bucks. If you would consider Kenny and Hangman a can they coexist tag team, that's the only match I would say was better than Brodido versus Callis family. But Joe and Hangman picking up the win, and then the Opps turning heel. What did you think, Josh?
The matchup was great. It was an all around solid match. But that the angle happened. I mean, what am I really surprised? Not really. Samoa Joe. As much as we love Samoa Joe, he's not on the same level as Big Show when it turns heel and face. It's pretty up there. It's pretty up there with Samoa Joe, heel and face. If you really think about it. One moment he's face, then he's heel. then he's face again. It's not, believe me, it's not like the way that it happens with Big Show.
Yeah.
But there's times with Samoa Joe where we'll get like a good run where he's face, and then all of a sudden we'll get like a good run where he's heel. And then now it's just, I guess it's the moment that they're like, all right, let's make Joe heel. You know, and with Samoa Joe, to his credit, you know, heel or face, he's great at both. Right, so it never hurts him. But the fact that they're doing it now, you know, I didn't think they would do the turn, at least like last night. I didn't think they would do the turn just because like it felt good. Like the moment itself felt good. Like it felt right. And then that happened. But then on top of that, I like the fact that Shibata and Hobbs, like they didn't confused. They're like, "What's going on?" They like joined in with Joe.
They joined in immediately. It was like that was the plan. That was the plan, just in case.
Yeah.
But
and
also, I think.
No, go ahead.
I also think there was kind of an Easter egg because when Hobbs was talking during the pre-show, when they were doing it like on YouTube, they're talking during the pre-show. I don't want to say that Hobbs kind of teased it, but his mannerisms kind of like told the story of like, oh, let's see what happened. Like if Joe loses, something's gonna happen. But like the way that he was responding to that, like the way he was like reacting to it, you kind of felt like in the sense that now looking hindsight looking in, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh shit, maybe this was the plan. If Joe loses, they're like, fuck this guy. They're gonna beat the shit out of him.
Basically.
Yeah. I would say that what's his name? Joe's heel turns are more in line with Lex Luger's heel turns than because the Big Show is the ultimate. His heel turn, he had so many turns that made no fucking sense. I think with
it didn't.
Yeah, and I think that's why anybody would like be offended if you made the comparison of Big Show and Samoa Joe, because Big Show has so many that doesn't make any sense, and at least with Joe, all of his heel turns, especially in the AEW heel turns and WWE heel turn, TNA not so much. Yeah, but and his WWE and AEW heel turns make sense.
And I thought all of Luger's heel turns made sense too. I thought they never came out of nowhere. And like, cause didn't Joe at the Survivor Series, like he wrestled the whole match and then thought about it and turned heel? Like it was so fucking stupid. Sorry, it's just flashbacks. Yeah.
It happens to us. But no, I thought this was a good decision because I felt like if you would have just went on to the next challenger, then we would have gotten into basically like a challenger of the month type of title reign for Hangman, where Hangman's now had, he had the long program with the Death Riders to pay off his redemption arc to win the title. He had the MJF matchup at Forbidden Door, which was really just an extension of their rivalry from earlier this year. It was just extended now with the world title involved. Then you had him with a short program with him and Kyle Fletcher, which was like a month-long one. And you thought that this would be a shorter one, but really this might wind up being the defining feud of this reign for Hangman Page, if he's going to do back-to-back title matches against Samoa Joe. What do y'all think should be? I think that if they're going to face at Full Gear, it should have like some type of stipulation, but what should the stipulation be?
I don't even know. Like no one at ringside. Well, that did hurt.
Is it too soon to do like a freaking Texas death match? Too soon after Texas? Submission match is interesting.
Submission match, yeah.
But Hangman doesn't really have too many submissions that he uses, so that would be interesting to see how he would figure that out. 2 out of 3 falls is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. I actually like the 2 out of 3 falls. I would have said Texas Death Match if we just didn't have it at All In. Just because like you kind of want like a violent kind of aspect of it, or if you want violence, it'll be a cage match because you'll still get some kind of violent kind of shit that they're gonna do.
But Joe just did the cage match with Moxley at Beat Break.
Yeah, and that's the thing that where it's like, that just happened. But I do like the 2 out of 3 falls concept. I do like that a little bit more.
We shall see, but I am interested in this rivalry and the fact that it's continuing now with Joe officially as a heel. But the show, I said it all the way through this week as I was previewing the show. I had Maggie, who's not the biggest fan of the guys in what would become the main event. I was like, Maggie, it's quite obvious what's going to be the main event on Saturday. Like, regardless of how you feel about these guys, AEW made it very well known what would be the main event of this show, and they gave you that. And boy, oh boy, did this fucking match have some expectations heading into it. And the fans knew about it right from the start. We get the recap for the main event, which of course is Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin in an I Quit matchup. They hate each other. They've hated each other for a long time, and they hate each other enough to have an I Quit match. And we get Darby coming out. He gets a big entrance, big applause from the fans in attendance. Moxley's guy comes out with Marina Shafir. We get right from the start, you see that Darby came out with a book bag that has some stuff in it. He pulls out the first item, and it is the flag that he put at the top of Mount Everest, the AEW flag. He places it in the center of the ring before the match begins. That doesn't last too long before Moxley just walks over the flag and wipes his shoes on it. You get Moxley starts firing off. He hits a shotgun drop kick. Moxley starts hammering away at Darby, even sending him ear first into the ropes. He basically tries to kick the ropes right into his teeth as well. Allin on the outside is sent into the steel steps and the barricade before Moxley stretches his arm across the steel steps. He then is handed some skews from Marina Shafir as he starts jamming the screws into Darby's fingernails. That was nasty. After making sure that his nail is still there, Darby wins a slugfest with Moxley and grabs a code red for a needed breather. Allin gets simple by choking Moxley with the flag early on. He tries to hang him over the top rope, but Moxley's able to thumb his eye to get free. The coffin drop only hits all apron as Moxley moves out the way and then stomps on his head. Some whipping with his belt, and my lord, these belt shots that Moxley gave to Darby were absolutely fucking ridiculous. You see the welts forming on Darby's body. Allin invites him to whip him with the belt. He basically says, "Sir, can I have another?" Like he's Tommy Dreamer against the Sandman. Somehow Allin gets over to the corner. He whips out some lighter fluid and starts spraying it in Moxley's eyes and pouring it all over him. More Death Riders run in, but they get chased off as Darby has some pepper spray and sprays Garcia and Yuta. This allows Moxley to hit a cutter. He then wipes the lighter fluid off of him after Claudio throws him a towel. He then pulls out a taser out of Darby's book bag. Darby blocks it at first until Marina Shafir low blows him, and then he gets tasered in the ribs, a stomp to the head, and then he sets up a chair. He opens it up, and he hits a Death Rider, completely destroying the chair. Darby is not answering, won't quit. He then puts him in a bulldog choke where Darby flips him off, telling him that he won't quit some more. Then we get one of the craziest spots of this whole entire matchup. Claudio Castagnoli gets into the ring. He lifts Darby Allin up over his head in a gorilla press. The Death Riders had set up 2 tables near the entranceway at ringside. So he looks like he's aiming to that, and you're like, oh shit. Then he turns around. He does a full sprint across the ring and tosses Darby. His body bounces off the announce table and explodes all over onto the other side of the announce table. Nigel McGuinness with the best call of the whole entire show. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. It was great. Then you get Pac with the welts from the belt whippings on Darby's back. He gets dragged around ringside by Pac, put onto the apron, where Moxley delivers a hellacious Death Rider off the apron through 2 tables at ringside. The fans declare that this is murder. This is murder. This is murder. Mind you, these are the same fans that were chanting, "We are nervous. We are nervous," at the start of the matchup. But you would think, that those chants kind of take away from the matchup. It doesn't really show that the fans are invested in the story that they're doing, because they're just doing chants and stuff like that. You want to hear this crowd get invested? Fucking Death Riders pull out an aquarium. An aquarium is brought out, and this is when the crowd's hushed. The crowd's hushed when they realized what the fuck these niggas were doing. Was amazing. It was amazing to watch live. Was this live crowd realizing what the fuck they were about to see? They pull out an aquarium. The Death Riders have big water coolers that have water inside it, and they start pouring the water into the aquarium, ladies and gentlemen. Moxley puts Darby into the ring. Darby crawls over to the aquarium, and this motherfucker started waterboarding Darby. Oh my God. I was promised fire, and I got water. I witnessed someone being drowned in professional wrestling. What are we doing? Rather than murder Allin, Moxley is basically going through it. He doesn't want to do this. He lets him out. He yells at him a lot, tells him that, just quit. Just quit. I don't want to have to do this to you. Just quit. Darby refuses. When it looks like Darby is dead to rights, it looks like Moxley is just going to drown him and no one's going to come out to help him. The lights go out. And when they come back on, it's not just Sting. It's Old Man Sting. Oh my God. And the roof blew off of this building. It's like as soon as the lights went out, the fans knew who the fuck was coming. They knew and that pop when the lights came back on and you saw Old Man Sting with his big gray hair and his big old gray Santa beard. This place went nuts. These fans went crazy. You get Darby is recovering in the corner. Sting attacks Moxley with the bat. The Death Riders get onto the apron. He takes out all the other Death Riders with the bat as well. He then does the coolest shit ever where he looks at Moxley. He then does a no-look pass like he's Magic Johnson to Darby. I was like, all this shit is a movie. It's a fucking movie at this point. He grabs the bat. Sting then basically destroys, before he passes the bat, he destroys the aquarium. So we just have a pool of water on the fucking mat. I've never seen anything like this before. You get Sting, who gets confronted by Marina Shafir on the outside. 66 years old. This old man lifts up her ass and carries her to the back. So it's 1-on-1. And Darby puts the bat in Sting's face and tells him, it's all over, pal. He starts beating the crap out of him with the bat. He hits the Scorpion Death Drop, wrapping the flag around his neck before hitting it. He then hits a Coffin Drop. He then locks on the Scorpion Death Lock. Moxley tries to crawl through the pool of water and glass. And then out of nowhere, Moxley just says, fuck all this, and just quits. Darby Allin wins the I Quit matchup. And this oh my God, this is one of the most violent, innovative, and unique spectacles that you can see in pro wrestling. Yeah, there's nitpicks. They didn't have that much time to give Darby the big celebration. Like, as soon as he's getting on the middle rope to celebrate with the AEW flag, they're pretty much signing off the show. You would have liked a little bit more time to be with him at the end of the show. But as far as this matchup, they had lofty expectations. But goddamn, did they deliver on every bit of them. You didn't get fire because it wasn't allowed in St. Louis, but they gave you something probably better. I'm sorry. Water was better than fire. I've seen everything they could do with fire in wrestling. I had never seen anything like this. If you want to give this 5 stars, shit, I don't blame you, because this is unlike anything you have seen before or anything you will see after. I gave it 4 3/4 stars, but as far as a spectacle in pro wrestling, this is as close to perfection as can possibly be. Josh?
I'm in agreement when it comes to that, because, man, this shit was insane. And it was insane in its own way because, we've seen a lot of crazy shit from Mox. We've seen a lot of crazy shit from Darby. So most of it honestly kind of felt tamed, but it kind of felt tamed in a way where it's like, oh, they're still doing violent shit. It's just not the worst thing they've done in their careers. Especially that what was that spot where he did with the fucking hand? Oh my God, that was gross.
The screws,
yeah,
into the fingertips.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, that was cringe for me. I was like, fuck, because those things hurt. Like, they're a quick pinch, but they still hurt, especially for the fingertips. That
right, yeah,
not a good feeling. As far as everything else, the aquarium. I like that was like, oh, what puts out fire? Water. So it's kind of a balance of what they use. Like, to counter fire, they use water. So I did like the fact that they did that. But then, especially when fans started chanting, "This is murder." Oh my God, that was funny. That was probably the best chant I heard all night. Besides that one and besides the Bucks one. But man, that shit was crazy. Like, just everything about it. And then seeing Sting, I like the fact that Sting finally embraced his old man look. Because the last time he came back, he dyed his hair. He did all that stuff. But it was like, bro, come on, Steve. We know you got the hair. Like, it's white now. Like, just embrace it. And honestly, he looks a lot cooler like that. It looks badass. He looks badass like that, in my opinion. So it was good to see him being an equalizer in the situation, and then him dragging Marina Shafir. I thought that was great. And then, the finish, we got the finish that we got. Darby did the Scorpion Deathlock Sharpshooter. He did it a lot better than a lot of people would do it. Dwayne. It was a good finish. Mox, he quit. He quit ASAP, I think, because Mox kind of probably figured what was going to happen. So he just said, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to lose now.
Yeah.
I had no problem with the finish. It did kind of feel rushed where the finish itself, where Darby was celebrating, it did feel rushed in that aspect. But the fact that when that moment happened where he won, it just felt like he did win the championship. So it was kind of cool to see that, because Mox was kind of one of those guys that he has eluded Darby from a lot of things. Darby has never beaten Mox until last night. So it was a big moment, and I felt like this was the match. Like, it was the right move to go with this match for the main event. On hindsight, like, I think this was the right move. And I had no issues with it. Even so, like, when I heard the internal reports where they're like, yeah, this is listed as the last match, I personally had no problem with it, because I felt like this was the best build-up match going in to WrestleDream. And I felt like it was, it was worth it.
Yeah, most definitely. Kris, what did you think?
Yeah, I liked the match a lot. the waterboarding was just something I didn't expect. It is what it is. It's wrestling. It's AEW. This is kind of like a live action cinematic match, because cinematic matches are usually taped and stuff, but this was a live action. I thought seeing Sting come back with the white hair, it did work. And it's another incarnation of Sting. Sting is a guy who's had many evolutions. He had the Surfer Sting that was starting to grow his hair, the Crow Sting, the Joker Sting. He's got levels to him, and this is just another one. Even the beard is just great to see. And the match to me was just I was not interested in this match going into it, but it delivered. It really did deliver. So even if you weren't a fan of Darby and Moxley going into the match, I don't see how you could come out this match not being a fan of the match. And I do think, and I knew this was going to be the main event even before it was announced, because these are, this is an AEW formula. I don't know if they ever called it an unsanctioned match, but it was, they do all the plunder matches usually come at the end, usually, not always, but usually. And I was cool with it. So, and I like this pay-per-view. Great show. Great match.
Yes, great spectacle to end it all off. What a show it was. But we want to know your overall thoughts on AEW WrestleDream. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much already. And of course, if you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video. That helps out the YouTube algorithms oh so much. We want to say final call for super chat donation, guys. It helps us out so much, helps out the contributors, as well as allows us to do even more AEW pay-per-view content and reviews after these big shows. So send a super chat donation before we sign off. And we want to know from all of you what you thought about the show. Whether you gave the show a thumbs up, a thumbs down, thumbs in the middle. Out of 10, what did you give the show? What was your match of the night, your moment of the night, your MVP and LVP? Let us know in the live chat. Let us know in the comments down below. For me, Kris, and Josh, for AEW WrestleDream 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us, Kris, or from all of us. Kris, out of 10, what did you give this show?
I give this show a solid 8.5. I thought there was a lot of good stuff on the show, and even the bad stuff that I didn't like is more nitpicky than anything else. So yeah, solid show.
Josh?
I'm going to go with a 9.
I mean, yeah, this is I'm right between both of y'all, and I don't do like the 8.75. It's either I got to give one or the other. I'm going to lean towards damn. Yeah, I'm going to go 9. It's a 9 out of 10. Like, there's so many great matches on this show. Like, the weakest match on this show, I think, is probably better than some of the weaker stuff on like your All In and your Double or Nothings, which was the other shows this year that I gave a 9 out of 10 for. So yeah, this is a 9 out of 10 show. It's got a 5-star match of the year candidate, got a whole bunch of great tag team matches, you got the great ridiculous spectacle at the end, great women's matches on this card, made history with 3 women's matches on the main card. Yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. Josh, we'll start with you for your match of the night.
Match of the night, I'm going to lean with damn. I really do love that tag team match, the tag title match. You know what? I'll lean with that. It was between that and the main event, but I think the tag title match.
Kris?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the tag title match too. Although the main event it was a lot, but as far as wrestling is concerned, I gotta go with the tag title match.
Like I said, if this was my favorite match of the night, I probably would say FTR and Jet Speed because that shit just that was a hell of a way and a surprising way to kick off the show. I really enjoyed Toni Storm and Kris Statlander. Really enjoyed Tekla and Jamie Hayter. The tag teams was just where it's at. It's really between the tag team titles and the main event. But since y'all both went the Brodido and Okada and Takeshita, I gave that the highest rating, but I'll give match of the night to the main event. I'm sorry. I got to give it to the main event. Those guys were ridiculous. No, you know what? I'm going to be fair. A match of the night is Brodido, Okada, Takeshita. It deserves the unanimous vote for match of the night because MVP, I will go with Darby Allin and Jon Moxley for MVP because Darby Allin picks up the biggest win of his career so far in what was one of his best performances yet. But Jon Moxley with another just incredible performance. Like when it comes to character work as like the monster final boss heel, I don't think we are seeing anyone doing it better than Jon Moxley. Moxley is on like a Roman level of final boss character work in a matchup. And just his look when Sting was in the ring and he has that look of fear, like, oh, fuck, I conjured this motherfucker. Like, yo, he just gets it. The desperation that he has in his face at that moment is very similar to the sell that he gives to the chain spot at All In, like the desperation that he has there. He has that same look when he sees Sting in this matchup. Moxley is just incredible. MVP of the show. Kris.
I'm gonna have to go with Sting, and I'll say this: Moxley is close. Moxley and Allin are close for me, but it's got to be Sting for me, just because. And I like that spot you were just talking about where Moxley looks scared and stuff. And that to me that was believable, you know, seeing Sting. Sting is in good shape, you know. He looks older, but you know. He's got old man strength, you know. I couldn't carry old girl across the like that. Even in my prime, I'd probably have to give up in about like a couple feet, you know. So you know, Sting, man, I just, you know, the guy's a national treasure. So and I his AEW, they give him the respect he deserves. So I got to go with Sting.
Josh.
MVP, I'm gonna go with Darby and Mox. You know, Darby in his own way finally got the big W. He got the big win over Mox. But then also Mox, I mean, for a guy that people wanted to go away at the beginning of the year, and the fact that he's been able to really turn things around, even the stable itself, the Death Riders itself. I mean, you know, and I've been saying it for a while. I was like, yo, ever since that last like run with the title and then post title, you know, these guys have been on a roll, you know, especially Mox himself. You know, it's been good to see, just because Mox, you know, he wants to be in AEW. He's made it very clear that's where he wants to be. And, you know, you kind of see it. You kind of see that with him. You kind of see that with performances. And I do feel like he's a guy that, like, you know, if he just, you know, when he decides to retire, I think he should be that guy to retire in AEW. Like, that's how I feel about Mox at this point. You know, but, you know, all around, I mean, it was a great performance. I mean, both guys killed it.
Yeah. I would say my honorable mention for MVP would probably be the tag team division overall.
Right.
Tag team wrestling was back on this show. Definitely. LVP for the show, unfortunately, I'm going to have to give it to one of my favorites, Mina Shirakawa. That was a letdown. Kris.
Yeah, I have to give it to Mina too, man. It pains me to do that because I really don't. She did what was asked of her to do, you know,
Yeah.
and I don't feel good about giving Mina the LVP, but the show was great, and there wasn't a whole lot of losers to choose from on this show. So Mina's got to catch a stray, unfortunately. So Mina,
Sorry, Mina.
yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna have to say Mina by default. Because honestly, there's not really a bad spot on the whole entire show. It's just that, you know, the way that they promoted it about a current champion, the way they promoted it, and it for it to be a interim champion. I mean, that's a letdown within itself. I mean, unfortunately, the match itself was good. You know, it was a good matchup. But you know, unfortunately, it was her, and then she lost the title. You know, so yeah, it has to be Mina. Even though I'm gonna meet her a couple of weeks. But sorry, I hope she don't get this.
Sorry, Mina. MCAT says not Mina. It was Statlander for looking like a chump. But you're forgetting the fact Statlander came out and redeemed herself and got the better of Mercedes. She did not look like a chump.
And she wrestled a good match on the show too. So
and she won. She beat the 4-time women's champion. Like, how is this Statlander?
Like what? even if you hated that spot with Statlander, she had a bunch of other great stuff. So she can't be the LVP of the show.
Yeah, and then she has a matchup for the next pay-per-view.
Right.
Moment of the night, I'm gonna give it to the Opps turning on Hangman. Josh?
Same. Moment of the night is the Opps definitely turning. They beat the shit out of Hangman after.
Yeah. Honorable mention, the Sting's return. Honorable mention. Kris?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Opps turning because I knew Joe had the potential to turn, so that wasn't a surprise. But the way the other guys did it was something to behold. So yeah, cool stuff.
Yeah. I wouldn't also mind if the Okada Macarena is your moment of the night. that was great. Or Great Carter bringing up Shelton's tope. There was a couple of really good moments.
Yeah, there's good stuff on the show. Yeah,
I was also gonna say freaking Darby getting waterboarded. I don't think I'll ever see that again in pro wrestling. Like, that is a moment that I would never forget from this show. So plenty to choose from WrestleDream. But let us know your thoughts if you're watching us on demand, and keep the conversation going in the comment section. Want to thank you all who joined us live here today. If you haven't already, drop the thumbs up on the video. It goes a long way to help the channel, help this video be seen by other AEW fans like yourself. And I want to thank my colleagues here, the True Jaw Josh, Professor Kris. Professor Kris, thank you as always for joining us for our AEW pay-per-view reviews. I want to give you the floor now so you can let everybody know where they can find you on social media and when they might see you again.
Yeah, just follow me on Substack for mostly political articles, but every once in a while I'll sneak a wrestler in to talk about them. So follow me on Substack, and then follow me on the Blue Sky. KMEZ Does It. I'm on Twitter also at KMEZ Does It, but I'm on Blue Sky a lot more. So yeah, just follow. And then Post Wrestling comes on tonight, new episode. So check it out. Of the NWA podcast. Let me get that correct, but yeah, check us out.
Yes, sir. Check that out tonight. And True Draw Josh, let them know where they can find you.
You can follow me, JMPunk321, on X and Instagram. Next Saturday, I'll be back on for the podcast. I'll be on for a short time, but I'll definitely be there.
There you have it. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSB3. You can follow the game, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at TrueHillHeat. Patreon.com/TrueHillHeat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our True Heel Heat flagship podcast from yesterday with myself, the True Jaw Josh, and Miss Chrissy Love, breaking down all the latest news, including Andrade's 1-year non-compete from WWE and how that has disrupted his AEW return. We broke that down, as well as gave you final predictions for WrestleDream, so go and check that out. Tomorrow here on the channel, we'll be dropping one of our, I believe it's one of our THH cuts, either of who had the better career. So check that out. That'll be the first edition who had a better career that we did on the flagship. That's going to be dropping on the channel tomorrow. And then I'll be back with you on Tuesday at 1:05 p.m. Eastern time to review Monday Night Raw. So join us for that. For Professor Kris, for the True Jaw Josh, it is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. This has been our AEW WrestleDream 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.